Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? Sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm late. Here we go. Here we go. Good to see everyone. Timothy, Pete, Racing, Mark, Anthony, Theo, good. RC, Pop. Too many of you to say hello to, but thank you for tuning in. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're going well. Chat will be on your screens very shortly once it syncs up. Connery. McLaren win today. Yes, yes. So there isn't any rain. No, there isn't any rain, but thank you for tuning in. If you could hit the like button, much appreciated. So, as normal, if you've forgotten how we do things here, of course, we go live a little bit earlier than kind of everyone else because we have our pre-race chat. Wait for everyone to kind of filter in, and we'll have a look at the strategy options for today. It is a nice sunny day in Zandvoort. And of course we'll have a look at the tyre allocations, the tyre offsets. It's one of the shortest pit lanes here as well. I think every single year we've had a safety car as also, so we'll see of course the time that will be saved by being having a safety car. Be very essential for the likes of Lewis Hamilton today, who's starting even further down the grid due to his 3-place grid penalty that he received from impeding Sergio Perez, which I still think was very harsh. I still think that was very harsh, but yeah. Oh, what happened there? That would actually self off. Phil, thank you for the sub, buddy, and anyone else who's subbed in the meantime. My chat, why does it take so long to load up, man? Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. All well and good being I do have a public live stream, so why are you not showing that public live stream? Why are you not synced up to it? Frustrating. Try that again. Apologies, guys. Still getting used to this OBS. There we go. When in doubt, close it down and reopen it again. I believe. There we go. Whee! Working. Energy drink done. I'm caffeinated. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Over 200 of you in here thus far. Can I help you understand all the grid moves prior to the race? Yeah, we'll have a discussion on that shortly. The crux of it basically is that Lewis Hamilton got a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Sergio Perez into turn 9 in the middle sector yesterday, which I think was a bit harsh. Looking at it, I don't know where they think Lewis Hamilton could have gone. It's very unfortunate, of course, for Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez, but it's just an area of the track where there's nowhere for you to go. I mean, his team maybe could have been a little bit, maybe could have said, look, someone's coming, get to the next corner where you can go very wide, but yeah, I still think it's quite harsh. How's my cough? It's still there. It's still a little bit tingly. I may go take... I've got some cough syrup, so maybe go take a shot of that before we start, of course, the race, because they'll be doing lots of talking today. Lots of talking. It'll be either Lando or win, or he'll throw it away again to Max. Yeah, so I did run some polls. We'll get to those shortly. Just finishing off the grid movements. The other one is Alex Albon. Williams' weekend has gone from bad to worse. Of course, Logan Sargent been in the car on yesterday morning in FP3. Alex Albon, after a great qualifying, putting it into P8, got DQ'd for an illegal floor or an illegal floor measurement. I don't know. I didn't read the whole detail. I didn't read the whole detail from the FIA, but yeah, Alex Albon's been DQ'd from qualifying, so he starts from the back of the grid. I'm not sure if Logan Sargent is starting. They said they were trying to fix the car for qualifying yesterday. Of course, they were unable to do that, but I assume Logan Sargent is starting, so it's going to be a back row start for both Williams cars, so really unfortunate for them. It's all good. It's all good. It's more annoying. It's not. The cough isn't bringing me down anything in regards to like my wellness. It's just you know, when it's an annoying, it gets in the way. That's basically what it is. So it doesn't hurt or anything, thankfully. This is where everyone should use driver spotters like IndyCar. I don't know. Should they use it or not? I don't know. I mean, the approaching speeds of F1 cars are just so quick. So quick. But yeah, I mean, they should... It's part of the engineer or the engineering team, Bono, whoever it may be, to keep an eye on the track map and let them know. So, Fort Lewis move up to P13 after K-Mag starting from the pit lane. Is he? Oh, well, I'll tell you what. Well, the live data isn't live yet. Once it does, we will change scene and we will have a check, of course, of that updated grid. And then we can have a look at who's starting where. Hope to watch you year after year. Very lucky. Oh, thank you, Bradley. I'm glad you discovered the channel too. Yeah, look, I'm going to be doing this content moving forward, of course. I'd love to do more content for you guys. But as I mentioned quite a lot previously, I still work full-time, still have a day job, which takes up a lot of my time. I do have all the best intentions of making content when I get home, but sometimes after a hard day's work, traveling on the trains and stuff, you're just knackered. And the bed is calling, basically. Why did they not club Verstappen for overtaking in the pit lane? Because technically speaking, you're allowed. There's no rules that say you can't overtake in this pit lane. What you can't do though is go over the white line, and I think Max Verstappen was on the white line, so they gave him a warning for it. So yeah, but it was a bit unnecessary yesterday. It was a bit unnecessary. But anywho, we have 300 of you here in the stream. So a big thank you for everyone tuning in and for all those subscribers that are flying in as well. I think no doubt we're going to get to 29,900 or 29,000 subs, sorry, this week, after this stream. But yeah, it'd be great if we could get close to 30,000 subs today. It's a tall order, 1,000 subs in one stream, but we've done it before. Do we think Antonelli will join Merc after Monza? Not after Monza, no. He'll be announced at Monza officially, and then he'll be joining next year. But there is talk, and we mentioned it yesterday. I said I'm surprised that Williams weren't or didn't take the decision to replace Logan Sargent in the summer break. I just think my thinking behind it is, even if you bring in a reserve driver or an F2 driver, who is truly going to be... I don't think anyone else could do a worse job than Logan Sargent at the moment. And of course, he crashed yesterday. And now those discussions are supposedly being entertained about Mick Schumacher. I think that's the rumour, because I think Mick Schumacher would be maybe like the logical solution. It's delayed because of that. That's where that sound's coming from. I was wondering where that sound was coming from. Thank you for the sub, by the way, Adele, and anyone else who has in the meantime. But yeah, supposedly they are going to be now looking at a substitute or subbing Logan Sargent out and just paying him off, buying out his contract, because he's costing them more money. Yesterday was just with new parts as well. That was kind of the nail in the coffin, I think, for Logan Sargent. I'm surprised the nail in the coffin wasn't sooner. Lawson maybe, yeah, Lawson may be loaned. I mean, we looked yesterday on stream. They actually don't have a reserve driver. They're the only team that doesn't have an actual designated reserve driver. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see who they go for. But anyway, let's have a look at the strategy options and the tyre allocations for today. Race starts on the hour in about half an hour's time. Let's go. So, here we are, guys. Here we are, Zandvoort. Today, it is a dry circuit. It is very sunny out there in Zandvoort. And what that, unfortunately, for us does, it means it's a one-stop race. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. But yeah, one-stop race. Soft to hards or soft to medium. Hopefully that's not the case. I do think we'll get some safety cars to spruce things up a bit. But yeah, one-stop race. And generally we know one-stop races aren't particularly great. Especially in modern F1, just due to how difficult it is kind of to overtake. No one really... I mean, these tyres can go on forever as well, particularly the hard compound tyre, whichever level of compound it is. So... yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Track position is going to be key here, like it is at the Hungaroring. So we may see some undercuts. I think the undercut will be powerful because track position is key. So I'd be very surprised to see anyone do an overcut here. But anyone tries to do an overcut, it'll be maybe to do some goal hanging for a safety car and get track position, but to get that cheap pit stop. But yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but it is looking to be a one-stop race. But hopefully there's some shenanigans that happen out on circuit that will at least provide us some intrigue when it comes to the pit stops and the strategy. Soft to medium is probably favourite. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, as I said before, track position is going to be key. The only thing that may be the saving grace here is how long the DRS is. The DRS starts from turn 13 all the way down to turn 1. So hopefully overtaking is easier here than it was at Spa. That's hopefully the saving grace of this race. Otherwise, yeah, a one-stop race, especially if there's no safety cars, might make it a bit boring. But I hope I'm wrong. There was talk of Mick Schumacher moving from Alpine Endurance Team. Yeah, well, he's still in the garage, isn't he, for Mercedes? He's still contracted to Mercedes, I think. He's there this weekend in the Mercedes garage for F1. So his F1 contract is still with Mercedes. But with of course, the World Endurance Championship and that, he's with Alpine. So, am I allowed to promote a free stream? It's by Dutch company that has rights to it. No, Sion, no. Please do not do that. I hope it gets spicy. Yeah, me too. I hope it does get spicy. I mean, we've had a safety car every single year we've been here. Sometimes multiple. So that may be the case again today. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to say McLaren are faster on long run than Red Bull. Yeah, that seems like it, especially with the comments from Max Verstappen. He does indicate it's going to be tough to beat Lando today, or the McLarens today. He's more so thinking about hanging on to P2 from his comments than he is looking at P1. But of course, we know McLaren, we know Lando, of course, a lot of pressure on him to get a good start today. He's qualified on pole, I think, 5 times now in sprint races and Grand Prix format, and he is yet to be leading at the end of the first lap every time he's been on pole position. So hoping to break that unwanted run that he's on at the moment. So yeah, but that's what we've got today, guys, for the strategy. Hopefully a safety car spruces things up a bit. Lewis Hamilton, as we said, starting further down today, around P15, P14. He will be hoping for a safety car or a red flag. Be interested to see what tyre he starts on, whether he goes on the alternative strategy to run long and hope for that safety car or that red flag. I think he will do, but let's see how much confidence they have in that Mercedes to make their way through the midfield. But let's have a look at the tyre allocations. So we can see here, Max Verstappen is really the big outlier here, and the 2 McLarens. Max has 2 hard compound tyres available to him and only 1 brand new set of mediums. Piastri and Norris have 2 brand new sets of mediums compared to Max Verstappen on 2 new sets of hards. But of course, as we see with the strategy just a second ago, not really sure how key that's going to play into their strategy. The only benefit having that extra set of mediums will be for the likes of Piastri and Norris will be if there is a safety car and they're able to put on a fresh new set of mediums compared to, say, Verstappen who's only got a fresh set of hards or a used set of softs. Lewis Hamilton, as we've said, he'll be hoping for a safety car so that he can utilise those 2 brand new sets of softs that he has, as well as Carlos Sainz with the brand new set of softs as well, because he didn't make it through to Q3. And then, I mean, look at Logan Sargent. He's got 4 brand new sets of softs available. Unbelievable, because he didn't even do qualifying yesterday. So, yeah, he might be doing softs all the way to the end and then pitting on the last lap to a set of mediums to do the mandatory two compounds rule. How much time is lost in one pit stop? Well, we're about to get there. We're about to get there. Patience. Bets on who Russell takes out. Well, the thing is, it's a short run down to the first corner at Zandvoort. So it's not like Barcelona, where it's the longest run. So George Russell won't get as much of an opportunity to swoop around the outside of both Max and Lando, and Piastri also, like he did in Barcelona. So Piastri, a bit of silent assassin today. Yeah, keep an eye out on Oscar. But let's have a look at the tyre offset. So this is the difference in pace between the tyres today. So you can see race is what we're looking at right now. So the medium on average per lap is 3/10 slower than the soft compound. But of course, the medium lasts longer. And then, of course, the hard lasts longer than the medium and the soft. So it's about 6/10 slower from the data that they've gathered during like the practice runs and from what Pirelli have given out. So that's that data. And then the pit lane loss time. So here we go. One of the shortest pit stops on the calendar. They reckon it is only 21.5 seconds pit stop loss. Under a safety car or a VSC, you're looking at a 6-second saving. So previous deployments, okay, so not 100%. So two of the 3 years that we've been here, 67% of safety car. VSC was 67%, and red flag was only once, I believe it was. So, yeah. Two thirds basically, and then as you can see, 0% chance of rain today. Why do people pray for a safety car? Doesn't mean there has to be a crash. It can mean there's a crash. It can mean that it doesn't always mean there's a crash. It could mean there's a breakdown, and a car has to. It just breaks down, engine failure, whatever it may be, and they have to call a safety car to safely remove it. So it doesn't always mean it's a crash. You still think Stuffeyy should be in the Merc seat for next season? I've put on 2. Listen, when you've got one day when you've got a pregnant lady, you put on a few pounds. They do, of course, by growing another human. But yeah, my diet's gone completely out the window the last 8 months. Hey Teco, welcome buddy. Good to see ya. Last year 12 on the grid, this year 14th. Yeah, not good. Race starts on the hour, guys. Race starts on the hour. So thank you for everyone tuning in. Just under 25 minutes until the race gets underway. Afternoon, David. Good to see you. But yes, that is basically it for the data, guys. So back to our strategy. One stop. Keep an eye out on those lap times. 24 to 30, really. Or 24 to 35 is where we're going to see. We always generally see some of the teams pull the trigger a lot sooner than this. I always feel like Pirelli's data when it comes, or suggested strategies on the soft tyre when the race starts on the soft tyre, is always overzealous, shall we say, in regards to how long they think the tyres can go for. Normally they go down to, normally we see drivers pit lap 10, like around 10 laps prior to this, especially with track position going to be key here today. I'm sure we'll see some of those teams in the midfield pull the undercut pretty sharpish. All depends on how powerful the DRS is. If we see some DRS trains, then I think we'll see some early undercuts. But yeah, if the DRS is effective and we can overtake here, then maybe, of course, those undercuts we might not see so much. Do we have a poll for who's going to win? We did do a poll of who's going to win. I did that yesterday. So I'm not going to waste your time in running another one right this second. And I'll show you. I did a couple of polls last night, actually. I did a couple of polls. So let me just show you guys what our results were on that. So I ran 2 polls yesterday, guys. Who will win the Dutch GP? 44% of you think, with 702 votes, 44% of you think Lando Norris is going to win, and Max Verstappen 38%, Piastri 11%, George Russell 4%, and Sergio Perez. There's 2% of you. What is 2% of 702? Not a lot. Not a lot of you think that Perez is going to win this race today. I think he's starting in. Is he starting in 5th? He is starting in 5th, isn't he? So yeah, can only run 5, and that's who we've got. So, and then I also went, who will Max beat Lando into T1? 61% of you think Max will beat Lando into T1. So, not a lot of hope and expectation on Lando heading down into T1 today, putting it on pole. So, Perez finding his form again. Hopefully, more overtaking from him today. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So I should take up swimming if you don't already. It's great for your fitness and cracks. Thanks, man. I just need to stop eating so much. That's basically it. I'm just eating too much, and I just need to move a bit more. I am a member of a gym. I just haven't been for a while. So I'll get back into it. But yeah, swimming is supposed to be very good for you. So yeah. Hey, Stephen. Good to see you, mate. 23 minutes, yeah, just over 20 minutes, guys, until the race gets underway. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do. Of course, we're trying to hit 29,000 subs today. Only a few more left to go, so if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. Who knows? Maybe we'll get close to 30,000. Maybe. So this album qualifying disqualification mini starts from the back of the grid. It does indeed. So our data isn't live just yet, so I'm waiting for that to go live so that I am able to show you the updated grid for today. Of course, we have penalties for Alex Albon, that DQ from an illegal flaw with their new parts that they've got. Hang on. Martin Brundle interviewing someone who I'm not overly familiar with. And then we have, of course, Lewis Hamilton, a 3-place grid penalty for him yesterday for impeding Sergio Perez. So, yeah. Kevin Magnussen apparently also starting from the pit lane, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm expecting. I do hope Lando can keep Max behind, or do I? I don't know actually. Do I actually want Max to? I'd like to see Lando win, of course I would, but I'm thinking for the betterment of the race and entertaining wise, I don't think the Red Bull is the quickest car. I think Lando's the quicker car. So if Lando actually does lose first position to Max in lap 1, will it be better for the race? Because Lando will be having to charge down Max and try and overtake him. Because I think Lando, if he keeps the position at the end of lap 1, I think he may just drive off into the distance. So we'll see. Can I help 2 seconds put the dish in the oven? I can do. See, look Mrs. Stuffey. She's cooking us a nice Sunday lunch. So I'll be back in 2 secs, guys. Just got to do some and some brownie points. There we go. Dinner is in the oven. She's already got a bun in the oven, yeah. With your calculations, I think it's better for Lewis to do a 2-stopper soft medium. Yeah, I mean, look, he's got that. He's got an opportunity for that. But anyway, it looks like the data's gone live, so let's just change scenes so that we can set this up. Oh. Right. That's me hoovering and cleaving. Right. Looks like we're ready to rock and roll. Just bear with us for a second. Should be okay. Set to leaderboard. Oh, yeah. That over there. Out there. Done. Right, let's go. End of the day, I'm just a yes man. Happy wife, happy life. Although not my wife just yet. In the future. But yes. Right, yeah, that's good. Ready to rock and roll. I've got a feeling we might need some of these tyres here open. But there we go, guys. So, updated grid for you all. Let's check that. So, as it says there, we've got we've got Lando Norris in P1, Max Verstappen P2, Piastri P3, Russell 4th, Perez 5th, Leclerc 6th, Alonso and Alonso and Stroll, with that disqualification of Alex Albon, have been promoted up into P7 and P8. Gasly's now in 9th. Sainz now in the top 10 as well. Yuki's up a position into P11 with, of course, Lewis Hamilton's free-place grid penalty. So Hulkenberg down into 12th. Ricciardo in 13th. Hamilton, of course, was demoted from 12th to 15th, but he's now back up a position due to Magnussen announcing he is starting from the pit lane. Esteban Ocon in 15th, Bottas and Zhou 16th, 17th. Sargent now starts one position ahead of his teammate while not even participating in qualifying. So yeah, Sargent and Albon at the back of the grid there, 18th and 19th. Not sure why Magnussen's starting from the pit lane. Most likely an issue. They've had issues all weekend, to be fair. The two harsh drivers, especially Hulkenberg with his brakes. So hopefully it doesn't rear its ugly head again in the race, because that'd be very dangerous, of course, with these cars going to be in close vicinity of one another. Lando better done hundreds of practice starts on the simulator. I bet he has. Thanks for all the subs coming in, by the way, guys. Much appreciated. If you could continue to hit that subscribe button, it really helps support this stream. And keep growing what a great community we've got here. Of course, if you'd like to support the channel some more, you can also join as a member of this channel, just like a subscription is on Twitch, for cheaper than a coffee. So rain, risk of rain is 10%. It looks very sunny out there though, so I think that 10% is very wishful thinking, to be honest. Why is Magnussen starting in pit lane? Swapped a battery for Magnussen. There we go. Yeah, it's normally for a swap of parts or a change in setup. So considering where he started, I imagine they probably would have just left him. It wouldn't have been for a change in setup. It would have been because of mechanical reasons. What's the weather forecast? Yeah, clear and sunny. But not long till this race gets underway, guys. Prep yourselves. Go grab your drinks. Go grab your munch, your food. Go to the loo. Because it's not long until we have 72 laps of Zandvoort. The same distance, I believe, or same amount of laps, one more actually, than what we have at the Red Bull Ring. It's going to be a chaotic race. We'll see. I mean, Max, we know he's not going to hold any punches, is he? Or pull any punches. He's going to want to win this race. He wants 4 for 4 here at Zandvoort. Never not won his home race since it's gone back and since he's been racing in F1. Turn 1 will be carnage. Well, I think, if memory serves me correctly, guys, I think every single year into turn 1, or at least in the first sector, we have had some form of contact and some form of body parts flying off of another car. Because of how tight it is. Now, some of that has been more serious than others. But yeah, I think there's always been contact down into turn through the first sector, which is basically on the exit of turn 3. I'm a super long IT support session company is reinstalling laptop from remote. Wish I think Piastri for the win, Max second, Lando third, George fourth, and Lewis fifth. Yeah, so I think the key thing here, of course, is going to be the start. That's the main thing. Is there going to be any safety cars? If there's no safety cars, I do see it difficult for Piastri to win because I don't think the overcut is going to be strong here today. So, of course, Lando, if he's ahead of Piastri, is going to get that pit stop first over the Australian. So that's going to make it difficult for Oscar to get track position on Lando or do anything out on circuit unless he's able to catch him and overtake him. But I think unless if there is a safety car, then that's where Piastri could get ahead of Norris because he could get a cheap pit stop. I think that's the only realistic way, unless there's crashes between Norris and Verstappen. I think that's the only way that Piastri is going to win this race because Lando's always going to get the priority in the strategy. So keep my it's slow cooking. It's a slow cooked roast dinner. No, let the meat go really like tender. Oh, love it. The only way I do roast dinners now. Race is starting in 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes, basically. Just over 10 minutes till the race gets underway. So, yeah, not long to go. I think Piastri will overtake on the outside as Lando will try and cover Max off at the start. No, I disagree. I mean, Piastri needs a really, really good start to have that. It's a short run. The difference here today compared to other race circuits is I think this is one of the shortest runs down into turn 1. So while there is room, of course, on the outside of turn 1, it's very risky to go 3 wide into turn 1 with these F1 cars. There's basically, I'd say 99% of the time, if you did that, there'd be contact. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. You need to try and position yourself. Probably, I think the line is to tuck. I mean, Piastri's starting right behind Norris. So if Norris gets a decent start and Piastri can get alongside Verstappen so that Verstappen can't pull in behind Lando, he can then just stay tucked in behind him. Because what you really want to do, of course, with the banking of turn 3, you want to be really on the inside of turn 1 so that you're on the outside of like going into this little kink on the inside of turn 2, and then the outside line of turn 3 is the racing line. So that then allows you to have that slingshot around the car on the inside if you go side by side, and then you'd overtake. So you want to hold that inside line. If you're too wide and you're on the outside of turn 1, you're going to be at such a detriment, even though you'd be on the inside of turn 3 because it's a suboptimal line. Actually, we're sitting in third, looking for a door open or mistakes happening in front of him. Yeah, I think in clean air, I think Norris could breeze. I mean, 3.5 temps yesterday is a big gap. That's the largest gap I believe we've seen anyone out qualify a Red Bull this season. So other than maybe Monaco, which is an outlier of a circuit, but I think that's the biggest gap. But Norris, the McLarens in particular, have out-qualified the Red Bulls. So, where did Stroll place in quali? He was P10. He was P10, but he's gained. No, he was P9. Sorry, but he gained a position because of Alex Albon's disqualification. So, but not long to go, guys. Not long to go. 9 minutes until this race gets underway. Please hit that like button, and if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, big thank please do. Nearly 1,000 of you here in stream. It's good to see you all back after the summer break. It was a long summer break, but we've got 2 back-to-back races for you. We've got Zandvoort now, the Dutch Grand Prix. Then we head to Italy once again for Monza. We know Ferrari, who have been a bit poor, of course, of late. They always like to bring some upgrades to that circuit. So we'll see how that gets on. But still, 9 races remaining after today. But this 10th one here, let's see what it has in store for us. I do hope there is some shenanigans. I do hope Max is aggressive. I think we can rely on Max being aggressive. I'm still toying with the fact of, is Max getting ahead of Lando a good thing or a bad thing for this race? And I do think it'd be a good thing for this race because I think the McLarens have got the pace advantage on Max. And there's a possibility of Lando doing a Verstappen-esque drive here today and just driving it off into the distance with that clean air if he's able to maintain the lead at the end of the first lap. Of course, we only have to wait one lap now for DRS as well, which is very key here. A long DRS zone. Well, it's 2 DRS zones, one from turn 10 on the exit of turn 10 to turn 11, and then, of course, the big one is on the exit of turn 13 through the banking of turn 14 all the way down to turn 1. So that long DRS zone, hopefully that will allow some overtaking here today, very similar to how it is in Hungary. Do I prefer do Max Verstappen or Max Super Max? I'm not a fan of either, but probably Max Super Max is a bit more of a ring to it. Hey Trisha, good to see you. All Lewis has to do is dive bomb everyone in the beginning. Well, we're not got long until we find out which tyres these drivers will be starting on. So it'd be interesting to see if the likes of Lewis Hamilton, who is out of position, Carlos Sainz, do they go for a harder compound? Do they go to that alternative strategy and try and go long and hope for a safety car? I got a feeling they may do. That will make overtaking potentially a little bit more difficult for them in the early stages of the race, but could benefit them having the quicker tyres at the end, and of course getting a cheaper pit stop and gaining a good few positions under a safety car or a VSC. Max is going to try and push for a win, but we'll see what will happen. Yeah, of course he is. He's not going to pull any punches. Hey Camille, yeah, feeling much better, thank you. Much better. The cough seems to have gone. Well, it's holding off for now, but yeah, just a slight lingering cough. But guys, I just need a quick loo break before we get underway. Not long until this race is starting. I think 5 minutes now. We will have very shortly we'll have the tyre blankets taken off, and we can see what tyres drivers are going to be starting on. But yeah, not long to go until this Dutch Grand Prix gets underway. So top up your drinks, grab yourself a coffee, a cup of tea, or maybe it's a beer. Or a nice glass of wine. Whatever your choice of beverage is, go grab it now, top up, quick loo break, and we'll be back for the start of this Dutch Grand Prix. Back in time before the tyre blankets are off, guys. Don't do that, Davina. Please don't do that. Right, here we go, guys. Not long till the tyre blankets are off. Any second now, no doubt, as the drivers will be getting into their cars. But let me know what you think in the chat, guys. Of course, I did run a poll for Max Verstappen, who will win this race, and the majority of you did vote that Lando Norris will win this race. So let me know in chat, who are you going for? Are you going for Max? Are you going for Lando? Are you going for Piastri? Is there going to be an outsider, like in Austria that we saw with George Russell or Sergio Perez? And here we go, guys. Interesting. So Pirelli have got this wrong with their strategy. Wow. So, the majority of drivers here starting on the medium compound tyre. Tsunoda, Hamilton and Bottas starting on the softs. Of course, Lewis Hamilton has 2 brand new sets of softs available to him due to not making it through to Q3. So, interesting strategy here from everyone on the grid, going for the medium compound. And if we look at just what Pirelli suggested earlier on, guys, there's not a single medium tyre start for these drivers, or for one of these strategies by Pirelli. So Pirelli have fumbled the ball, I think, in regards to their predicted strategy. So no doubt, I suppose the medium opens up the opportunity of using the soft tyre at the end, or using the hard compound tyre. We'll see if Lando trained how to start. He always says, yeah, we'll see. We will see, guys. So this is multi-viewer. If anyone's wanting to know what I'm using, yeah, I'm using multi-viewer. So Lando, Max, Piastri, Magnussen will. Only driver starting on the hards, which has never really worked out well for them. Anyone who started from the pit lane from the hard compound tyre. So we will see. But yeah, intriguing there. But everyone, majority of drivers on the medium compound tyre. So let's see how that works out for them. But yeah, big thank you to everyone tuning in and subscribing as well. I can see them coming in. So yeah, big thanks, guys. Hope for George, but expect Max to take it. Yeah, we will see. We will see. So yeah, moments away from this formation lap starting, guys. And yes, not long to find out who will be leading down into turn 1, or, well, at the end of the first lap, because that is where Lando has failed to lead every single time at the end, or the position he's failed to find himself in at the end of every single time he has been on pole position. At the end of that first lap, he has not been in first place. Somebody is still drunk after the vacation, yeah. I'm really surprised about that. I'm really surprised Pirelli haven't even proposed. I mean, they do that after they've gathered all the data as well from the race weekend. We don't actually get that graphic until after qualifying is completed. So, yeah, really surprised they haven't predicted anyone to start on the medium compound tyre. But I think so, Swim. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think the medium also leaves them open to that flexibility of using, if it lasts long enough, the medium, then maybe they'll go on to the soft compound. We have seen that in other race circuits as well, where the degradation and how long the tyre lasts is better than the data suggests. And yeah, they may be able to take the soft tyre that long. But yeah, it's most likely, I think, going to be the medium to hard. Everyone's got a set of at least one brand new set of mediums and one brand new set of hards available to them. So yeah, we will see. We will see. I suppose also, like, there might be a safety car as well, and maybe drivers will make an early pit stop onto the hard and think they can take. Maybe they've got data to suggest the hard tyre can go the whole race distance or very long. So yeah, we'll see. But morning, Monique. But here we go, guys. Not long until this race gets underway. The Dutch Grand Prix. Let's have a rundown of this grid one last time. Of course, some penalties were issued out post-qualifying yesterday, and we've had the news that Magnussen is starting from the pit lane after taking a brand new battery. So it is Lando Norris on pole position ahead of Max Verstappen, who's going for 4 out of 4 wins here. 100% record thus far at Zandvoort since we returned to the Dutch GP. Piastri lining up in P3, Russell in P4 with that new floor on the Mercedes car. We have Perez, a resurgence after retaining his seat during the summer break, in P5. Charles Leclerc lining up in P6. Alonso and Stroll in 7th and 8th, both beneficiaries, Lance Stroll, a beneficiary, and Gasly also of Alex Albon's disqualification down in 19th position. Gasly in P9, Sainz in P10, Tsunoda in P11, Hulkenberg P12, Ricciardo P13, Hamilton, who initially got a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Sergio Perez in qualifying, has regained a position due to that disqualification of Albon, so he's now in 14th, Ocon 15th, Bottas 16th, Zhou 17th, Sargent 18th, Albon 19th, and Magnussen, as we've already said, starting from the pit lane on the hard compound tyre. But let's see how punchy Tsunoda, Hamilton and Bottas are started on the soft compound tyre. Only moments away as these drivers grid up at down the start-finish straight here for the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. It's a lost short run down into the first corner. Please hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Over 2,000 of you here for the start of this stream. Let's go, guys. Let's go. It's been a long summer break. It's been 3 weeks. It felt like 3 months. But we are seconds away from the F1 season getting back underway, guys. Oh, who's excited? Who's excited? I definitely am. I definitely am. Right, Alex Albon lining up at the back of the grid here. Here we go. Seconds away from the start of this Dutch Grand Prix. They're lined up. Lights are on and it's green light, away we go as they head down into the first corner for the first time in 3 weeks. And Lando's bogged down, and Max Verstappen, it seems, is ahead into the first corner. Has he got ahead of Lando? He has indeed, and Lando has it all to do already. Piastri loses a position to George Russell. Hamilton's gaining a position on those set of soft compound tyres. But Max Verstappen, job done, down into the first corner. We had a lot of pressure on Lando Norris down into that first corner on that race start, and Max is ahead already. Piastri under pressure from Charles Leclerc, who's gaining a position as well. Zhou's lost 2 places, Ricciardo's lost 2 places, but Max Verstappen is leading, and no doubt Lando Norris, that continued run of not leading at the end of the first lap after being on pole position is going to extend, because Norris is in P2, Russell P3, Piastri P4. Just watching the race start again, and it seems that Lando just bogged down dramatically, and it was a great start from Max Verstappen. Easy, completely a card's length ahead of Lando as they headed down into turn 1, and easy peasy for Max Verstappen. But we do know that the McLaren is a quick car here this weekend on race pace. Lando will not have to wait long for that DRS to activate, but he is already outside of the DRS of Max Verstappen. There you can see that 1 second gap. He's the only driver on this track right now who is outside of the DRS as Gasly is coming under attack by Fernando Alonso as they head down into turn 1. Will Alonso get the Alpine on the brakes down into turn 1 there? No, Gasly able to defend the position as DRS is now enabled this time around, but Norris already losing time to Max Verstappen, 1.2 seconds back. Russell up a position. Piastri down a place as well, so not a good start for the 2 McLarens. Lewis Hamilton update, he is up a position in P13, as is Valtteri Bottas. You can see those 3 soft runners in 12th, 13th and 14th there in a row as Hamilton is looking at the rear wing of the RB car of Yuki Tsunoda. He'll be wanting to dispatch him quickly as possible and make this soft tyre advantage work over the rest of the field in this first stint. But Lando Norris once again has extended that unbelievable poor run of not leading at the end of the first lap while being on pole position. He has failed to do that 6 times now as Magnussen, starting from the pit lane on the hard compound tyre, has got ahead of Zhou Guanyu down into turn 10 there. So Magnussen making some ground after starting from the pit lane. Yeah, but Verstappen leads 1 second ahead of Lando Norris, who doesn't have DRS. Russell is back in P3. He's 2 seconds back from Max Verstappen and a second back from Norris. They're losing DRS, and you can see there's some gaps starting to form as Hamilton did get ahead of Yuki Tsunoda there. I don't know where he got that done, no doubt probably in the middle sector, but Hamilton clears Yuki as Yuki is being attacked by Valtteri Bottas here as well. Valtteri Bottas, the 2 former Mercedes teammates of Hamilton and Bottas on this soft compound tyre, coming alive at the start of this race. But Max Verstappen at the front there, 1:16.1 last time around to Lando Norris. It is a very long race here, guys. 70 laps remaining, and well, who knows what great overtake by Lewis Hamilton, by the way, into the chicane. One of the few areas that we thought we might not see overtakes here today. But Leclerc getting under attack here by Sergio Perez as Sergio Perez trying to regain that 5th position on the Ferrari. We can see that Piastri is in the DRS of George Russell, so he'll be looking to try and dispatch the Mercedes driver quick as possible. Of course, Russell is not in the DRS of Norris, as Norris has dropped back to 1.5 seconds back from Verstappen, so he's struggling in that dirty air as it stands. Eden, please refrain from doing that, mods, if you can. Eden, if you continue, I will get the mods to time you out and ban you, so please do not do that. I don't want to, being a long time member of this channel, but I will not stand for that, please. As Charles Leclerc is under attack from Sergio Perez. Is Sergio going to be able to get round Charles Leclerc there? No, he cannot. It seems Piastri is under attack as well. Can you time out Eden, please, mods? Please time out Eden. Russell is, sorry, so as I'm regaining my composure here, we can see that Hamilton is gaining time on Nico Hülkenberg. He's got ahead of Tsunoda. Oh, Bottas, after trying to go on the attack of Yuki, has just dropped back a bit after making a mistake. You can see there that the top 6 at the moment are putting away from Gasly, so a bit of a gap forming between them. But Verstappen, that time there, 1.4, 1.4. Okay, it seems to be that I can't do anything in... It's because I'm seeing it in my chat, that's why. I'm seeing it in my chat, but not in the YouTube chat, that's why. Okay, sorry guys. Just throwing myself off a little bit there. He timed out or not? Anyway, guys, I trust you to... It's because it can be seen in the chat, but not in. I am just going to stop chat so that people can't see it on the screen for the time being until that stops. But yes, Alonso is under attack here from Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz up 1 position as well. But let's have an update on the chat. Let's have an update on this at the moment. Max Verstappen in P1, Lando Norris in P2, Russell in P3, Piastri P4, Leclerc P5, Perez in 6th, Gasly 7th, up 2 positions. Good start for Pierre Gasly. Didn't realise how many positions he'd gained at the start. We can see that Alonso up in P8, Sainz up 9th, Stroll 10th, Hülkenberg is up a position into P11, Lewis Hamilton in 12th, and on the back of Nico Hülkenberg, is he going to go for another move on the harsh, just like he did Yuki Tsunoda? And he's got round the outside of Nico Hülkenberg there. He's on the attack. He's just behind Nico Hülkenberg. DRS will be open. Will he go for a move down into the chicane like he did on Yuki? No, but it does seem like it's only a matter of time before Hamilton gets Nico Hülkenberg on that set of soft tyres and gets past the harsh driver. We can see Bottas in P14, Ricciardo in P15, Ocon in 16th, Albon 17th, Sargent 18th. Zhou now has gained a position back on Magnussen, and yeah, Zhou Guanyu. So Zhou Guanyu only down 2 positions now, and Magnussen. What has happened to Magnussen there? Something's happened to him. So we'll see. We'll see. But Lando, 1.2 seconds now on Max Verstappen. So that gap is coming down a little bit. They're pulling away from Oscar Piastri, who is stuck behind George Russell at the moment. He really needs to dispatch the Mercedes driver if he wants to have an opportunity of being in this fight for P1. Otherwise, yeah. Problems for Oscar Piastri, and he could find himself struggling to stay with the front 2, because that is a gap now, 4.3 seconds to Piastri and Max Verstappen. But Hamilton wasn't able to get past Nico Hülkenberg down into T1 last time around. He's having to move around the outside of Nico Hülkenberg. They're side by side as they head down into the chicane there. Nico Hülkenberg and Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton with that extra grip trying to make it work through the tight middle sector and just not able to at the moment. But he's trying to force that Haas offline and get him away from the toe ahead, because that is what is keeping Nico Hülkenberg just ahead of the Mercedes driver right now. But Lewis Hamilton closer this time around. DRS open. Is he going to have a move down into turn 1? But that Haas we know is pacey in a straight line. And he's not. He's not right now, but he's going for a move. He's on the rear wing off that Haas of Nico Hülkenberg, who's struggled this weekend. He's only currently 1 position out of the points positions. I don't know, but yeah, Verstappen, Norris, Russell, Yeah, I'm trying to get it sorted, guys. Bear with me just for 2 seconds. Bear with me just for 2 seconds. Apologies for this interruption right now. I don't know why it's showing on certain screens and not. So apologies for the interruption right this second. Chat is off the main broadcast screen, isn't it? I think. Chat is off. Chat is off. It's not on at the moment, so you shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't be able to see anything. Thankfully. So. Maybe it's just delayed. Maybe it's just delayed. But yeah, you shouldn't be able to see anything, guys. Shouldn't be able to see anything. Right, hopefully that's done. Hopefully that's done, guys. And hopefully, yeah, won't be seen anymore. We don't want that. Hopefully we're all good. Right, let's get back crack-a-lagging and back to what is the Dutch Grand Prix, because that's what we're here ultimately to watch. You can all have drivers you prefer and dislike. That's absolutely fine, guys. But I will not tolerate any bad language and any particular hate towards drivers and other viewers in this chat. Just FYI. So let's get back to what. Why are you still there? What is up with YouTube? Why can you not ban people? Why can you not ban people on YouTube? Honestly. Ridiculous. I do apologise for some reason not showing up in the actual YouTube chat, but shows up on my chat on OBS. So I do apologise, but I'm going to have to leave the chat off for the time being. And yeah, Eden, if you are listening, you're banned. Go away. I don't want you here. Please. Go away. So yeah. Anywho, back to the race, guys. Back to the race. Max Verstappen in P1, 1.5 seconds to Lando Norris right now. George Russell in P3, Piastri in P4. He's lost the DRS to George Russell and is just not able to get past the Mercedes driver. Maybe he is sitting back and already into the management phase of this race, but that is quite a concerning gap between Piastri and George Russell right this second. Leclerc is on the attack here as he might have an opportunity on Piastri. Does Piastri maybe have an issue, or is he just taken too much out of his tyres in the early stages of this race? Let's have an update on Lewis Hamilton as he's able to get round the outside of Nico Hülkenberg down into T1, DRS open, and Lewis Hamilton, after about 5 laps of trying, has finally dispatched the harsh driver of Nico Hülkenberg, and he has his eyes set on Lance Stroll, already up 3 positions thus far, and Lewis Hamilton is ahead of Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll. Nico Hülkenberg, Nico Hülkenberg. Not Lance Stroll. Not Lance Stroll. But wow. What a good overtake there by Lewis Hamilton. He's making moves on this set of soft compound tyres in the start of this race, trying to recover, of course, that free-place grid penalty and that poor qualifying that he had yesterday. But we can see Piastri, okay, now pulled a bit of a gap to Charles Leclerc. He's just opened up. It was around a second there to Charles Leclerc, so maybe he just backed off of George Russell's rear wing for a little while to cool those tyres, get them back into a bit of a decent performance window, and may now go on the attack. But let's keep an eye on Charles Leclerc. How much will he gain in the DRS of Oscar Piastri? And he gains quite a considerable amount, actually, with that run, as Carlos Sainz is having a move on Pierre Gasly down into turn 1. Is he going to get the move done on the Alpine driver? And he's not. Carlos Sainz has to wait a bit patiently, or not. Is there a slight delay? They're side by side as they head through turn 2. This is very, very touchy through that sector there in the first couple of corners, and Carlos Sainz gets ahead of Pierre Gasly as they went side by side through turn 1, through turn 2, and Sainz comes out ahead of Pierre Gasly and is up into P7. 3 positions gained for Carlos Sainz, also recovering after a poor qualifying yesterday. And, well, we can see that it is Verstappen P1, Norris P2, Russell P3, Piastri P4, Leclerc P5, Perez P6, Sainz is now in P7, and, well, Hamilton is the only driver out of that top 8 drivers who is currently not in that kind of line. But what side-by-side action it was from Sainz and Gasly. Side-by-side through turn 1, a great lunge from Carlos Sainz, very well managed. And we've seen some great racing here at Zandvoort today. Some overtakes into certain corners that we have yet to see. Sorry, but we didn't expect to see. But Lewis Hamilton, let's keep an eye on him. DRS is activated on Lance Stroll, but no doubt he's getting the tow and DRS on his teammate ahead, which is going to make things difficult for Lewis Hamilton. How long are these soft compound tyres going to last? As Gasly has already kind of fallen into the clutches, it seems, of Alonso, closing that gap 1.2 seconds back from the Alpine driver. So Fernando Alonso in P9 ahead of Lance Stroll. Lewis Hamilton 4 tenths back. Nico Hulkenberg staying to the back of these as well. As we head a little bit further down the grid, Yuki Tsunoda in P13, down 2 positions on the set of soft compound tyres. Valtteri Bottas in 14th. Ricciardo 15th, down 2 positions as well. Not a good race from him or a good weekend at all as it currently stands for the Australian driver. Esteban Ocon in P16. We can see Albon is up 2 positions in 17th. Sargent 18th. Magnussen now regaining another position on Zhou as Zhou is really falling off of here, and I think this is going to be the way that he's going at the moment. I think this is Zhou Guan Yu. Does he have an issue, or is this just poor performance from Zhou? It's not been a good season from him, is it? So, but we can see. So I think I can hopefully. Nah, it's all good, Angus. It's all good. I just want everyone to enjoy the experience, that's all. Just want everyone to enjoy the experience. But we can see Max Verstappen. Oh, Albon, first to pit. First to pit here, guys. Alex Albon, first to pit. So let's see if anyone does respond to, no doubt, this undercut by Alex Albon. Thoughts on plan A versus plan B. Piastri reporting, I think plan A. Do I think the Red Bull car has improved? No, it's still as it was before the summer break. The other teams have definitely caught up. So Max Verstappen 1 second back from Lando Norris now. So hard compound tyre for Alex Albon. So is this a clear indication of Alex Albon or the Williams team thinking that they could get this hard compound tyre to the end of the race? That is going to be interesting, isn't it? That's a very long way, 60 laps to take 1 set of tyres round a circuit that is, you think, harsher on the tyres compared to the likes of the Red Bull Ring where we have 71 laps. So let's keep an eye on Albon. Does anyone respond to that? It seems quite early. It does seem quite early to bring in. But Hamilton, Lance Stroll has lost Fernando Alonso here. And Hamilton, with DRS open, with Lance Stroll without a DRS and a tow of his teammate, gets ahead of the Aston Martin driver of Lance Stroll and has gained another position. 4 places up now for the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, up into P10. And this has been a good recovery from him thus far. He's not that far back, really, in the grand scheme of things, or back from Carlos Sainz. And all it will take is a safety car. Sorry, just listening to Plan A, probably better to beat. Plan A is probably better to beat. Better to beat Max is what they have said. So, yeah, apologies, guys. I think my chat on here is a bit delayed compared to the YouTube chat. So, yeah, apologies for that. I'm just going to quickly sort that out because I don't like being delayed with what I can and can't see. So, just 2 seconds. And hopefully that is a bit better for me. Keeping an eye up with the chat in better time. So... But yeah, 29k, thank you guys, much appreciated. If you can continue to hit the like button, thank you. Really ran a great community here, and I hope you enjoy the experience as well. So yeah, I've gone to the actual YouTube chat now, so the one on the screen is a little bit delayed, so apologies for that. But yes, I'm now up to date. So there we go, pit stops, guys. Hulkenberg's pitted, Tsunoda pitted as well off the soft compound tyre. Lewis Hamilton still seems to be going quite strong on this soft compound tyre. He's already pulled away 2 seconds away from Lance Stroll now, and Hamilton is on the back of Fernando Alonso and could be into P9 at the end of this lap. Charles Leclerc is still on the back of Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris is just sitting patiently as he does in the first stint. They're thinking very much the long game right now in regards to trying to outdo Max Verstappen in that Red Bull car. Max Verstappen, is he managing his tyres as well? You can see that the last lap there from Verstappen and Norris was 16.4. Let's see what their lap times are as they cross the start-finish line. A 16.2 from both drivers there. 5 thousandths of a second separating both drivers as they cross the start-finish line there. Leclerc being towed along by Oscar Piastri. He's getting closer and closer to the rear of that McLaren car down into turn 1. But just not enough to make an overtake happen. This is benefiting, of course, George Russell right now. Piastri unable to dispatch the Mercedes driver in the early stages of this race as he sits in that last podium position. As Lewis Hamilton gets past Fernando Alonso. Lewis ahead of Alonso down into turn 1 as predicted, and he is going very well on this set of soft compound tyres at the moment. He is on the alternative strategy to the other teams out there. Whether they decide to go onto a set of hard compound tyres or whether they decide to go onto a set of mediums, we will see for the Mercedes driver compared to that of the other drivers ahead. I think you would think that Hamilton, the Mercedes, will try and put him on an alternative tyre so that he can at least try and make something happen. But here we go, guys. Look at this. But Max Verstappen now has Lando Norris in his DRS. Apologies for the chat in the screen. Yeah. Don't worry about that, guys. It's very delayed for some reason. I'll try and sort that out. But Lando Norris is good looking at Max Verstappen as they head down into turn 1. It's very close between the two of them. All side by side almost by Lando Norris. He thought he'd have a look at Max Verstappen as he had to go defensive into turn 1 there. And Max Verstappen, I think, made an error down into the middle sector. And that has allowed Lando Norris to catch the back of the Red Bull. And now he can put some pressure on Max Verstappen as he's been sitting back looking after his tyres. And here we go, Max Verstappen, who gained that first place down into turn 1 at the race start, is looking to hold on to it 17 laps into this race from the McLaren of Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton going very well on this set of soft compound tyres, by the way. A 16.6 from him last time around. Quicker, 3 tenths quicker than Pierre Gasly. Much quicker than, only just a couple of attempts slower than Sainz and Perez as well, and Leclerc. So you would be thinking that those tyres would be falling off a lot quicker than the mediums, understandably, but still going at a very nice pace right now. And if he can get ahead of Gasly by the first lot of pit stops, it'll be good. But here we go, Lando Norris again, DRS open. He's going to have an opportunity. He's got the overspeed on Max Verstappen. They're side by side as they head into turn 1. Late on the brakes, Max Verstappen. Side by side. They're still side by side. And Lando Norris has got ahead of Max Verstappen down into turn 2. Is he going to be able to hold on to it as they head for the banking of the turn 3 corner? And he does. And 18 laps into it, Lando Norris has regained P1 from Max Verstappen as he seems to have been struggling a little bit with his medium compound tyres at this stage of the race. You can see they're 3 tenths slower last time around compared to Lando Norris, but now the roles are reversed. Max Verstappen, who no doubt wants to win his home race for a 4th time in a row, as Max Verstappen goes all over the back of the rear wing of Lando Norris there, and he tries to drop back a little bit. We know that he's going to hold no punches whatsoever, and we'll see if Max Verstappen is able to return the favour on Lando Norris as they head down to turn 1 once more. But an easy overtake there from Lando Norris. Fair and respectful between the two friends as he went side by side through turn 1. But here we go. He does seem to have a bit more grip. Lando Norris, it seems, looking after those tyres are maybe a little bit better than Max Verstappen. But how much pace does that Red Bull have with the DRS? This is the first time we've seen Max Verstappen in the DRS as he's led from the outset. And, well, he does gain a lot, and we know he's going to be late on the brakes to try and upset the McLaren of Lando Norris. But while he did bottle the start again, he has regained. He's been patient and he has regained that position, that first place from Max Verstappen. Great racing. This is proving to be a lot more overtaken in this race than I was expecting. Pleasantly surprised. Lewis Hamilton update. He is 1 second back from Pierre Gasly. 4 tenths quicker than Pierre Gasly last time around. But that soft compound tyre is starting to drop off a little bit, as Carlos Sainz there was 5 tenths quicker than Lewis Hamilton on the medium compound tyre, who's just up ahead. Zhou Guanyu now finally deciding to pit, but we're seeing drivers go onto the hard compound tyre. Yuki Tsunoda on the medium. So different strategies there from both of the teams of Bottas, the Stake F1 car. Hang on. Lando reporting that the tyres feel very good, as he's pulling away from Max Verstappen, and he is pulling away from the DRS as they think that Verstappen will probably pull the undercut, and I do believe that, but it does seem that overtaking is possible here today, and that's a key factor, that even if Max Verstappen does get the undercut and they decide to go a bit longer, Lando Norris on the mediums, then he would be able to regain position with some fresher tyres. The delta in the tyres doesn't have to be that severe or have that much of an advantage to be able to make overtakes here, it seems. But Max Verstappen not dropping back out of that DRS at the moment. But this is where the Red Bull has struggled all weekend in Turn 9 and Turn 10. It gets some understeer through the Turn 9 corner and Turn 10. And we can see that he's lost the DRS, Max Verstappen, just through those 2 corners. He's lost around 2 tenths. And that is the all-important difference. Does he regain DRS? The DRS line is just down outside of Turn 12. Is he close enough to get it? I don't think he is. He's going to be over 1 second back. And yes, Lando has been able to pull out a gap on Max Verstappen. And now Max does not have DRS. You can see there, look, 1.3. He's lost 4 tenths there. 3 tenths, basically, pretty much, just from turn 9 through turn 14. So in that dirty air at this stage of the race, 20 laps on this medium compound tyres, he is struggling. Oh, what's gone on? Please update yourself. There we go. Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Still the little cough there. But Lewis Hamilton, is he able to get past Pierre Gasly? He was a lot closer last time around. And no. Maybe next time out, he will be able to get past Pierre Gasly. He's around half a second quicker than the Alpine driver at the moment. But of course, he is going to be stuck behind him until maybe turn 11. We'll see if he's able to pull off an overtake there like he did on Yuki Tsunoda in the early stages of this race. But it is Lando Norris ahead of Max Verstappen by 1.6 seconds now. George Russell, 7 seconds behind Lando, the lead ahead. We can see that big gap forming between the front 2 drivers. Piastri in P3. He's closing the gap now on George Russell. That gap now down to just over a second, as Leclerc has just been dragging along behind Piastri in that DRS and that slipstream that the McLaren is providing to the Ferrari behind. Perez dropping back a little bit, 2.5 seconds back from Charles Leclerc, maybe also just in a tyre management phase of this race. Carlos Sainz, who is up 3 positions, trying to chase down Sergio Perez 3 seconds further back. As Lando Norris, lots of conversations happening between the 2 drivers there. But let's keep an eye to the engineer and the driver. But let's keep an eye on Lewis Hamilton. DRS open. Surely this is a done deal on the Alpine. But how quick is that Alpine in a straight line? Lewis Hamilton on the soft compound tyres. Is he going to make a move around the outside of turn 1? We've seen him get past a number of drivers here already today. But Gasly defends valiantly on Lewis Hamilton and holds him off for just a bit longer, as the Alpine driver holding on to PA. A good drive from him thus far, as there's a bit of a gap between them and Fernando Alonso. But Lewis Hamilton wants to get past, of course, Pierre Gasly as quick as possible, as Esteban Ocon lost the position to Kevin Magnussen, as Nico Hulkenberg is overtaking Logan Sargent there down into turn 1 on a set of much fresher tyres as well. So lots of movement happening on this circuit. A lot more overtaking than we predicted, guys. But Lewis Hamilton not got a lot of grip at the moment. Well, how much grip has he got left? The 17.1 is only due to the nature of him being stuck behind the Alpine right now. Will he try and overcut? Will he try and stay out as long as possible to ensure that he has a much fresher set of tyres come the end of this race. Lewis Hamilton has just lost the... Oh, has he gained the DRS? Let's see. No, he's lost the DRS. Is he coming into the pits, Lewis Hamilton? Let's keep an eye on him. No, he's continuing, but he did lose a bit of time there to Pierre Gasly in that middle sector, so maybe a little bit of a lock-up from him as Norris goes fastest in the first sector out of anyone today. Purple there for Lando. Now he's in clean air. 3 seconds. Wow, I swear it was only 4 laps ago that Lando Norris got ahead of Max Verstappen, and now he's 3 seconds ahead of the Red Bull. So Max struggling at the moment, or just, I say struggling, or maybe just doesn't have the pace of the McLarens. He did indicate that this would be the case yesterday, that holding on to P2 is primarily their aim, and well, we can see that now that the McLaren of Lando is in clean air, he is just storming away and using that pace advantage that the McLaren currently has. Logan Sargent out of the pits. Is he going to go side by side with Zhou Guanyu? A fight for P20. 2 drivers who probably won't be on the grid next year. This has got a crash written all over it, hasn't it? Zhou Guanyu and Logan Sargent. Sargent out of the pit lane. And those two are 2 drivers that I don't think Lando Norris wants to see fighting up ahead of him. That is for sure. As Charles Leclerc's making a move on Oscar Piastri. They're side by side through turn 1. And Oscar holds off Leclerc just down into turn 1 there, but he went for it, Leclerc. He saw an opportunity, and Piastri, is he now starting to struggle as Lewis Hamilton pits off the soft compound tyre. 23 laps, a valiant effort from Lewis. He gained 4 positions at the point of pitting. What tyre is he going to come out on? Is it going to be a medium? Is it going to be a hard compound? Let's see. Hope you're enjoying the stream, guys. If you are, please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. 29,000 subs today. Thank you, thank you. Over 3,500 of you here in the stream at the moment. Much appreciated. It's been a long summer break. It feels like a long time. Some of you might have forgotten F1 was back. But great driving from Charles Leclerc and Piastri there, as Charles definitely did have an opportunity at trying to overtake Piastri. So Hamilton, yes, he's dropped down to 16th, guys, but it is a very short pit stop here. So when you pit, you're more likely to lose a lot of positions. So Lewis Hamilton on the hard compound tyre now. Okay, so Lewis Hamilton, not quite on the alternative strategy, but that soft compound tyre did help with overtaking. As Charles Leclerc is to the pits off the medium compound tyre, let's see how he gets on. He's on the way again as Lewis Hamilton fastest in the middle sector, but he's got some traffic. Can he get past Yuki Tsunoda and dispatch him pretty sharpish? You would expect so, but it is important for Lewis to not lose this time unnecessarily behind the RB driver. No doubt 2 temps as they head out of turn 14. He's going to have DRS open, and it's going to be an easy overtake ahead of the RB car of Yuki Tsunoda before they even got down into turn 1 as Lewis Hamilton gets back up into P15. Piastri slowly creeping up on Russell. He's kind of been sitting comfortably around that 1 second mark behind. So, was that a slow stop from Mercedes? I don't know, actually. I don't know. Not entirely sure. Appreciate my channel. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Much appreciated. Alonso comeback. Well, he's just got ahead of Charles Leclerc, which is not ideal for the Ferrari driver, as George Russell is responding to the undercut of Charles Leclerc. So we'll see if that is going to be a good decision. It looks like that Leclerc getting caught behind Fernando Alonso here could be the big difference between Leclerc getting ahead of George Russell and not. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight, and Charles Leclerc is going to get the undercut done on George Russell. Was that a slow stop from the Mercedes team? It definitely seemed like George Russell was not up and running as quick as he possibly could be. And well, George Russell has been undercut by Charles Leclerc, even with Charles getting caught behind Fernando Alonso. That was most doubtedly a slow stop for That was most doubtedly a slow stop for the Mercedes team. Just watching it on TV coverage right now. Let's see how slow that pit stop was for George Russell. But yes, Leclerc has got the undercut done. We knew it would be powerful as Hamilton already onto the back of Esteban Ocon. Lando Norris storming away right now, 5.5 seconds ahead. It was a 3.4 second stop for George Russell. So that undercut, powerful by Charles Leclerc. It just shows how powerful the undercut is. That even with, I mean, a 3.4 second stop is slow, but he came out well behind Charles Leclerc. He came out well behind Charles Leclerc. Maybe it would have been closer if they had a normal 2.5 second stop. But Charles Leclerc now ahead of George Russell. But does the Ferrari have that pace over the Mercedes? Of course, we know the Ferrari has been struggling in performance compared to the top 3 teams over the last few months. Let's see if Charles Leclerc can hold on and hold off the Mercedes driver of George, just like George was able to hold off Oscar Piastri earlier on. But let's keep an eye out on Piastri's pace. Yes, he's on 26 lap old mediums, but he's now got clean air. And the first lap he's done in clean air is a 16.0, half a second quicker than that of Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. So this is going to be essential for Piastri here. Can he get the overcut done? Can he be one of the few drivers to do an overcut and use that pace advantage the McLaren has on the likes of Leclerc and George Russell? But maybe not. Actually, no, maybe not. Maybe the overcut isn't possible because Leclerc and Russell are doing obviously decent times on the hards, on fresher hards. But he will have fresher tyres at the end and have a bit more of an offset. But George Russell there, look, already within DRS of Charles Leclerc. He'll have it if he gets a good exit out of the chicane into turn 12 as Max Verstappen into the pits, guys. Max Verstappen into the pit lane. What time? No doubt coming onto the hard compound tyre. Let's see how he gets on as Hamilton has got past Ocon while I've been looking at the lap times of the likes of Oscar Piastri as if he did a 15.9 last time around, Oscar Piastri. But you can see there George Russell just done a 14.5. Wow, 1.5 seconds quicker than that of Oscar Piastri and almost Lando Norris as well. That is the difference of a brand new set of tyres at this stage of the race. But let's see if when those McLarens are going to pits, surely it's not long. Are they going to respond to that pit stop by Max Verstappen? That lap time was special there from George Russell, but still not enough to catch up and overtake Charles Leclerc as he did a 1:15.0 himself. Lay off there. COVID. I've had COVID. It's a bit different. It's a bit different to that. Just lingering. But Norris should pit onto hards now. We'll see. We'll see. And he does. Yes, McLaren, very smart. They respond to that undercut of Max Verstappen. No need for them to risk it as Piastri will inherit the lead at this stage of the race. Now he's in clean air of 15.9. When he was behind George Russell, he was stuck doing mid-16s. He's now half a second, 6/10 quicker per lap than he was stuck behind George Russell. Carlos Sainz now up into P3, so a good result from him as Charles Leclerc is looking to overtake Pierre Gasly and put a car between himself and George Russell. This could be essential here for Charles Leclerc in holding off the Mercedes of George because he's now got himself ahead of Pierre Gasly and Russell could potentially be stuck behind that Alpine for the remainder of this lap, and that will allow Leclerc some important breathing space between him and George. Albon having a look at Yuki Tsunoda as well as Hamilton gets past Nico Hülkenberg up into P13 now. And the thing is, Lewis Hamilton, he's in currently P13, but of course we have Magnussen, Ricciardo, Stroll, Alonso, Gasly, Sainz still yet to pit, and Perez and Piastri. They were a bit too far ahead of course, Lewis Hamilton. But you can see there, George Russell just getting held up by Pierre Gasly, even with the extra grip that he has on those newer hard compound tyres. Will he get the overtake done down into turn 11? It's going to be essential for him to get it done, and he does on the brakes with DRS on Pierre Gasly down into turn 11. A good overtake by George Russell, but look at that gap between Russell and Leclerc now, just from that single lap of being stuck behind as Perez comes into the pits. He has lost 2.8 seconds to Charles Leclerc now, and that is the difference between putting a car between yourself and another behind. That's Lando in P3. Good pit stop from him. Fastest in the last sector. You can see there maintained really that 5-second gap between himself and Max Verstappen in P4. A 1:15.0 from Verstappen last time out. Lando Norris fastest in the first sector. Lewis Hamilton overtaking Magnussen now. 2 in 2 laps for him on the harsh drivers as he is up into P11 on the hard compound tyre. So Lewis Hamilton going well and recovering this race. A race of what if, really, for Lewis Hamilton, if he actually qualified decently. And, of course, didn't get that free-place grid penalty for impeding Sergio Perez. But Lando Norris going very nicely. He's stuck behind Carlos Sainz now, actually, who's still yet to pit, going long in this race. But no doubt will have the grip and the pace with DRS to easily dispatch Carlos Sainz down into turn 1. But Oscar Piastri going very long here. His pace looks okay at the moment, 1:16.0. We still have 42 laps remaining in this race, guys, as Carlos Sainz dives into the pit lane. Lando Norris fastest in the last sector there at 1:14.5. Still, that fastest lap is owned by George Russell. But you can see there that gap, 3.1 seconds between George and Leclerc. That really hampered George Russell getting stuck behind Carlos Sainz for that single lap. But let's have a rundown at the moment as we're starting to see some pit stops as Lance Stroll now pits and promotes Lewis Hamilton up into P10. We see there that Sainz comes out behind Sergio Perez. So we'll see if Sainz has gained tremendously on Sergio Perez there. Very, very good pit stop and opening stint there from Carlos Sainz. Sergio Perez down 3 positions as it currently stands, but we know Gasly and Alonso are still yet to pit. So he's only technically down 1 position from the race start. But he's going to get held up by Fernando Alonso here, no doubt, which will allow which will allow Carlos Sainz to get on get on the back of Sergio Perez, unless Sergio is able to dispatch the Aston Martin down into turn 11, like we've seen a number of drivers do actually down into turn 11 today. And they're side by side, and Sergio Perez does get past Fernando Alonso as they headed down into turn 11 there. So that's importantly put Alonso between him and Sainz and stop Sainz from getting the DRS on Sergio Perez. He will have DRS, but he will be importantly not close enough to have that DRS on Perez next time around. As Norris takes the fastest lap this time, 14.3 from him. Good lap, and he's extending that gap on Max Verstappen, a 6.3 second gap between the two now. That McLaren definitely has a very big pace advantage over the Red Bull this weekend. Apologies, guys, apologies. Everything changed so much. Yeah, we've had some pit stops. So, yeah, we've had some pit stops, and we've had, of course, Lando overtook. We've had lots of overtaking out on circuit, which is interesting. Very interesting. So, Lewis Hamilton now has some clean air. He's in P9, 5 positions up today. He is behind Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez. It'd be good to see if he could catch the back of those two and have a fight between the Ferrari and the Red Bull. We're still yet to see a safety car here, which we have had 2 out of the last 3 years. So still early days, only 40 laps remaining still left in this race. Not even halfway through yet, guys, in this race. How mad is that? We've still got a half this race to go. Unbelievable, unbelievable. But thank you for everyone who's been tuning in and subscribing. Apologies for obviously the spam and stuff earlier on and the bad words that kind of threw me off in the early stages of this stream. I do apologise for that, but I think we've got a flow going again. So yeah, thank you for maintaining with the stream and those difficulties. And yeah, if you could hit the subscribe button, it'd be much appreciated, guys. Just a good token of your appreciation for this stream. I really do enjoy doing them. It's be good to be back, guys. Good to be back. He's losing a lot of time doing this strat. He is at the moment, yes. Yeah, he is. 30. He's going very long. I'm wondering what the strategy is here. Are they going to go? I mean, have they seen? Oh, there we go. He's pitting right now. I was thinking, have they maybe seen something different to what we have in regards to like a soft compound tyre? But I believe he'll go on the hards. They want a big offset, don't they? Is he going to come out ahead of George Russell? Sorry. No, hard compound tyre as well. So he's going to have a 9 to 8 lap offset on George Russell and Charles Leclerc. And we know they have a pace advantage. Look, he struggled to overtake George Russell earlier. So maybe they've seen the fact of, look, we need a big tyre delta to overtake George Russell and Charles Leclerc. So I think he'll catch up to George Russell pretty quickly. It's just obviously overtaking. So that's maybe their thinking, is that we want a big tyre delta, or we need one to overtake George Russell and Charles Leclerc and secure that podium position, and maybe even catch Max Verstappen, because Max is not setting the world alight with his lap times. He's half a second slower than Lando Norris at the moment. So I still think with 38 laps remaining in this race, half of the race remaining, I think Piastri could, barring any safety cars, could catch Max Verstappen, you know, because he had serious pace in clean air. Looks like plan A is not the same for Norris and Piastri. Will Piastri go medium or soft, or medium soft? No, as we've just seen, of course, he's on the hards. But I think they've got a massive tyre delta. I mean, look, he's got 7 laps over Max Verstappen. He's got 10 laps over Leclerc. He's got 9 laps or 8 laps over George Russell. Yeah, Gasly noted for an unsafe release. Let's have a rundown of the grid, guys. Here we go. Lando Norris is your leader, 7.5 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen after losing the P1 position down into turn 1 at the race start, as Ricciardo's closing in on the stake F1 car of Valtteri Bottas there for P15. Max Verstappen, yeah, 7.6 seconds back from Lando Norris. This is definitely Lando's to lose now, barring if there's a safety car, or if there's a of course, mechanical issue. Hopefully not, but yeah, Norris in ultimate control of this race now. Charles Leclerc up 3 positions in P3 and pulling away from George Russell in this second stint as well. He got the undercut on George Russell, made it work, and he's actually putting a gap on George, which is really intriguing to see. Piastri with that big offset on those drivers ahead in P5, hoping to gain time on George Russell and Charles Leclerc. Maybe even Max Verstappen, we will see. Perez in P6, down a position. Carlos Sainz up 3 positions also. Hamilton up 6 positions. He's done a lot of overtaking out on circuit, starting on those soft compound tyres. It's definitely worked a trick for him, and he's now looking to close down that gap on the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, but he does have 7-lap older hard compound tyres. We'll see if that comes to bite him later on in the race, and 8th position may be Hamilton's best hope for a finish today, as Ricciardo gets past Valtteri Bottas down into turn 1 there, and Ricciardo struggling this weekend in P15, but his teammate, what has gone on with Yuki Tsunoda, by the way? Yuki Tsunoda going for the 2-stop strategy, the only driver to have made a second pit stop. Is this genius by the RB team, or is this an absolute shocker of a strategy once again by the RB team, who are completely doing disservice to their drivers with their poor strategy decisions? We will see how that plays out for them, but obviously he went 14 laps, around 9 laps shorter than Lewis Hamilton on the soft compound tyre. So maybe that was their decision from the outset, but they couldn't take that tyre as long as the Mercedes. But Nico Hülkenberg up into P9, both Haases, by the way. Bearing in mind, Magnussen going for a mega stint as it currently stands. He started from the pit lane, started on the hard compound tyre. Of course, he wants to run as long as possible in this first stint, because he will be ending the race on the medium, or maybe even the soft, compared to everyone else. But he's in P10 as it currently stands. Double points finish for Hülkenberg and Magnussen. Albon in P11. He's going very well, by the way. Alex Albon, considering he's had a disqualification from qualifying and started down in 19th position, currently up 8 places in 11th. Gasly in P12, Alonso P13, as Stroll is noted for speeding in the pit lane. That would be a Stroll-esque thing to do, wouldn't it? For sure. Ricciardo in 15th, as we just mentioned, overtaking Bottas in 16th, Sargent in 17th, Ocon 18th, Tsunoda 19th, and Zhou Guanyu is the only driver to be lapped, and he's 8 seconds behind Yuki Tsunoda, who's made an extra pit stop. So, once again, another poor performance from Zhou Guanyu, and I think even with that bundle of cash that he brings with him in Chinese backing, is not going to be enough for him to maintain his seat for next year. But yes, thank you guys for tuning in. Much appreciated. 29,046 subscribers. Thank you. But let's see, who do we have? What? Let's have a look. Oscar Piastri, is he getting a move on? Is he closing that gap on George Russell? He is 1.7 seconds back from George Russell at the moment. It's definitely closed. A 1:14.3 was a full second quicker pretty much last time out. Oscar Piastri on George Russell. And he's done a fastest first sector this time out as well. So let's keep an eye out on that relative, on that interval time. He's got so much more grip than that of George Russell. Will he have enough to close the gap and get DRS as there? And there's a 5-second time penalty for Lance Stroll speeding in the pit lane. Wouldn't be a Grand Prix weekend without a Stroll-ism, would it? Thanks, Marley. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Why is Max so damn slow? He's just not quick. The Red Bull, well, not him, but the Red Bull's just not as quick this weekend. It's really not. It's kind of like a similar performance to what... So when you think about it, Zandvoort is a very kind of similar circuit to the Hungaroring, I would say. And they're probably running similar setup configurations to what they had at Hungaroring. And what happened there? McLaren dominated that race. Remove, obviously, the debacle that was the decision by, of course, the McLaren team and the swap that happened. But the McLarens dominated that weekend, dominated that race. And that's what we're seeing again here today. I think if Piastri had got ahead of Verstappen in qualifying, or like even at the start of the race, I think we would have seen both McLarens just drive off into the distance. As we're seeing Norris do right now, he's comfortably quicker than Max. I mean, this is a Max-esque performance and gap that we've been so used to seeing from the Red Bull Max combination over the last few years. But Piastri, let's keep an eye on him. He's half a second back on George Russell. He was a second quicker last time around as well. DRS open. How much pace does that McLaren have over the Mercedes of George Russell? Is he going to be able to have a move down into turn one? Does he have enough? Is he going to go late on the brakes? He's gone round the outside. George Russell, does he have an answer to that McLaren of Oscar Piastri? He does not. And Oscar dispatches George Russell. He's up to P4. He's got much younger tyres than that of George and Charles Leclerc. And he's now 3.8 seconds back from Charles Leclerc. And, well, could he be... is it an outside opportunity for him to secure a 1-2 with Max Verstappen? We will see. He has 6 lap younger tyres than Max Verstappen. It all depends how quickly he can catch and dispatch Charles Leclerc, in my opinion. And I think then he just has the natural pace in that McLaren, or pace advantage that the McLaren has over the Red Bull, with enough laps remaining in this race to potentially catch or have an outside opportunity of battling Max Verstappen at the end. That would be a great sight to see, as Lando Norris has extended that gap to 10 seconds now over Max Verstappen. So while it was a poor race start from Lando Norris, since then he's maintained a very cool head, hasn't got himself down, and he's just managed the race perfectly. And yeah, the only thing that could spoil it now is, yes, Taco, a safety car caused by Logan Sargent or by Zhou Guanyu. As Sainz, wow, fastest lap from him last time out. He's getting a move on, as he's looking to chase down Sergio Perez. He's in the DRS of Sergio Perez now. We have a bit of a battle going on here between Gasly, Albon, Alonso and Stroll, with Magnussen and Ricciardo looking to catch up to this pack as well. As Oscar Piastri sets the fastest first sector out of anyone this lap. So Oscar Piastri in a bit of clean air, now getting a proper move on to try and close down that gap to Charles Leclerc. So we'll keep an eye out on that. as there's some movement happening up ahead, as Alex Albon is holding off Fernando Alonso as they headed down into turn 1. They're side by side as they head into turn 2. This could all end very nasty between the drivers there. A lot of cars in a short space of circuit, and they've all managed to survive as Fernando Alonso got past Alex Albon, who is up 7 positions at the moment. He's on 28 lap old hard compound tyres, so there's a 20 lap difference between the life of his tyres compared to that of Fernando Alonso and almost Lance Stroll. And well, Lance Stroll, who already has a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Let's see if he's able to dispatch Alex Albon as comfortably as his teammate just did, who now has his eyes set on Pierre Gasly ahead. And it's also close there as well at the back between Bottas, Sargent and Ocon of all drivers, as Norris overtakes Tsunoda and laps him as it currently stands. But look how close, with a couple of battles forming out here at the moment, which is interesting to see, as that gap between Piastri and Leclerc has closed down to under 3 seconds now. 2.7 seconds back is Oscar Piastri on Charles Leclerc, who Charles Leclerc had just to navigate his way past Zhou Guanyu. But look how tight that's getting in the midfield at the moment as Sargent lets Lando Norris by. But here goes Lance Stroll, DRS open. Alex Albon also has it on Fernando Alonso. Will Lance Stroll try something here on his teammate, on Alex Albon? No, he's unable to. But good racing here at this circuit as it currently stands. I really do think we'd be devoid of some overtakes here. But wow, it's really proved that DRS, they've got absolutely perfect here today. And we've also seen some great overtakes down into turn 11 as well. So the dirty air, thankfully, isn't that prevalent, it seems, and in stopping us having some good overtakes. But Ocon there, wow, as Bottas let Norris by, Ocon really closed the gap on Valtteri Bottas there. And then look at that gap between Bottas, Ocon, Sargent and Tsunoda all fighting for P15. And we have Gasly in P10, who is holding on to that last points position as it currently stands. Magnussen has finally pitted, yes, 40 laps on that set of hard compound tyres. He started from the pit lane. Let's see if he can make that pace advantage work with that medium compound tyre and catch up to the battling pack up ahead. He'll definitely be in a key position if there is a good position, if there is a safety car now. If anyone decides to pit, of course he would gain positions, and if they don't, then he'll be on fresh tyres at the end of the race. But we can see there, Piastri 1.8 seconds back from Charles Leclerc now, really closing that gap, setting low 114s compared to Leclerc, who is doing 115s as it currently stands. He's around 8 tenths a lap quicker at the moment, the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. He's also, importantly, the same. He's quicker than Max Verstappen as well by the same margin per lap, it seems. The two McLarens in a league of their own here this weekend. Oscar Piastri, of course, losing a position at the start to George Russell, really hampered really what I think would be quite a comfortable 1-2 for the McLarens at this stage of the race. But that's still not off the cards for McLaren at all, with Lando Norris now 11.1 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. As Stroll did get past Alex Albon last time around, and Albon now looking in his rearview mirror at Daniel Ricciardo, who's looking to regain that position and be where he started in P13. So let's keep an eye on that. DRS open on Alex Albon. Let's see if he's able to get that move done. No, not enough in that RB car. How about Yuki Tsunoda on the other Williams car? Let's see as the track map decides to do a bit of jumping, jump and a skip there. Valtteri Bottas into the pit lane. He's not going to be able to take those hard compound tyres to the end. 28 laps remaining in this race still. Wow, we still have such a long way to go, guys. These 72-lap races are long, aren't they? They're quite long. Oscar Piastri 1.3 seconds back on Charles Leclerc now. A response from Charles Leclerc last time out with a 14.8, as he can see that papaya car in his rearview mirrors closing ever quickly, but he does have 9-lap fresher tyres compared to that of the Ferrari driver, so no doubt while Charles Leclerc could get a move on, it could obviously be too much for Charles Leclerc. I mean, you can see there that Charles Leclerc has gone green in the first sector, and Piastri went yellow, which means it's slower than his fastest time, and he's still 2 tenths faster than Leclerc's best first sector time last time around. As look at that extra grip that he gains through the middle sector there, just through turns 9 and 10. He gains so much, and no doubt he'll gain through turn 12 as well. Surely he's got enough to get DRS as they head down through the detection zone. Just about 0.999 is the gap between Piastri and Leclerc as they went through the detection zone. And well, Leclerc has been able is just far enough ahead, but you would think next time around Oscar Piastri will have a genuine opportunity to get past Charles Leclerc down into turn 1. Or maybe even into turn 11, depending on the grip or the lack of grip that Charles Leclerc is experiencing through turn 9 and turn 10, that middle sector at the moment. As Carlos Sainz is side by side with Sergio Perez. Oh, he's just held on to it. Sergio Perez there, as Carlos Sainz, who's been in the DRS of Sergio Perez for quite some time, got very, very close to him side by side, and Sergio Perez able to hold on to the position. And this is just allowing George Russell to further extend his gap. So Lando Norris at this stage of the race, they're just really kind of... hang on. So yeah, they're just a bit of discussion there between Lando Norris and the team, talking about safety car. If we put on a brand new set of mediums and Max stayed out, would you be comfortable in passing him? And he said, yeah, I'll be able to do that. So we'll see. No doubt Lando probably trying to maybe extend that gap some more to try and get some breathing space in case there was a safety car, to get on a set of new tyres and potentially even maintain that first place position ahead of Max if a safety car came out. As Carlos Sainz gets ahead of Sergio Perez down into turn 1. They were side by side last time out, and Carlos Sainz finally gets past Sergio Perez and he's up into P6. A good drive from Carlos Sainz today as he is up 4 positions into P6, gets past Sergio Perez, and well, will Sergio Perez fall into the clutches of Lewis Hamilton, who is setting maybe 1:15.5s. Maybe he's been out on that hard compound tyre just a little bit too long, Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis up 6 positions into P8 as well. The top 4 teams currently covering the top 8 positions, and well, considering Lewis Hamilton started in 14th today, that's not a bad drive from him at the moment. But let's have Max Verstappen getting held up by some traffic there. We can see as there's only 6 seconds between Piastri and Leclerc, as Piastri a lot more closer here, 6/10 back. Let's see, with the DRS open, will we have an opportunity to get past Charles Leclerc, or at least side by side down into the first corner? He's quite far back, 6/10, but we know that McLaren is pacey in the tow. With the DRS open, will he have an opportunity on Charles Leclerc down into turn 1? No, not enough last time out, as the Ferrari is just starting to get a move on and hold off that McLaren of Oscar Piastri. And how long will these tyres last for Oscar Piastri with that advantage that he has with 8 lap fresher tyres? We will see. Sorry, 9 laps actually, 9 laps. Perez doing his usual wonky job. Well, my prediction yesterday was that Sergio Perez, someone said, oh, what will Sergio Perez do? And I said it will be a typical Sergio Perez performance. He will not do anything fancy, and he'll still finish 20 plus seconds behind his teammate. And that gap currently stands at nearly 20 plus seconds. I think it's about 16 seconds at the moment between him and Max Verstappen. So still time left for that 20-second gap, which is with 24 laps remaining as it currently stands. Red Bull is not the same after Adrian Newey. No, it's not. It's not got anything to do with that. But yeah, I still think they've been nerfed in some capacity. I don't know if it's particularly that clarification that came out in the regulations that everyone was speculating on, but it's quite a big drop-off in performance to the other teams. Yes, the other teams have made good performance gains, but it's quite a considerable gain from all the teams, particularly McLaren, in such a short amount of time at the start of the season. So yeah, Hamilton into the pits. Wow, so Hamilton going for a 2-stop, which I guess he's kind of he's got an extra set of soft tyres to use, so he's got nothing to lose really. Look at the gap between him and Hulkenberg. If there is a late pit stop, then he will end up. If he's got a late pit stop, if there's a late safety car, he will be on set of soft compound tyres and potentially be able to have a go at those in front. But a good recovery from Lewis, you think, really? Unless there was a crash or a safety car, it wasn't really. It was going to be a tall order for him to finish higher than 8th position. But still, with the cars being quite close out there at the moment, especially Sargent, Tsunoda and Magnussen, something could still happen. We still have quite a considerable amount of time left in this race. Where's Oscar Piastri? He is 9 tenths back of Charles Leclerc now, so struggling to get past Charles Leclerc as it currently stands with 9-lap fresher tyres. But of course, how fresh are those tyres now, as he has been on the attack, of course, trying to get past George Russell and trying to catch Charles Leclerc. Has that advantage that he has on those tyres dissipated compared to Charles Leclerc, who knew eventually that Piastri would be on his rear wing and he's fighting for that last podium position. But there is, of course, Magnussen, Tsunoda and Sargent just up ahead of him, who could get in the way here, and Leclerc will be wanting to get past Magnussen pretty sharpish, as will Oscar Piastri, as Magnussen does get out of the way. Can Piastri take advantage of these cars, who Tsunoda, of course, is looking at the rear wing of Sargent and trying his best to get past Sargent himself, as Piastri did close the gap a little bit, but not enough. Not enough. He really needs to be about half a second, it seems, from what we've seen in the last few laps, to really get past Charles Leclerc and have an opportunity at Charles Leclerc on the exit of turn 14. He needs to be half a second. At 8 tenths as he is now, is not close enough by any means. Can I recommend an F1 game? If you're going to play an F1 game, probably F1 23. I don't think the F1 24 is great. But I'm not really that big into the F1 games, unfortunately, so you kind of speaking to the wrong person in that regard. Just like what happened to Ferrari in 2019, exploiting the fuel flow sensor. Yeah, to some capacity. Yeah, I mean the FIA they've got history of never being open when it comes to finding stuff on teams' cars and asking and then telling them to change it. They don't make that open information. It always kind of, if we know about it, it's because it's been leaked. Makes you think what kind of stuff has been kept secret before, as Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race there on a brand new set of soft compound tyres, as Charles Leclerc really got held up by Yuki Tsunoda there and Logan Sargent. Let's see if Oscar Piastri is able to take advantage of this time around. He's definitely a lot closer, but under braking loses a little bit of time to Charles Leclerc and wasn't really able to take that advantage. And if anything, he's lost a bit of time, as that gap has now gone out to 9 tenths rather than come down. And look, you can see there through turn 13, that's really where the big wash of dirty air is, where they're experiencing, and he's just not able to get past Charles at the moment. And this is just, of course, helping Max Verstappen, who is 6 seconds up the road. Lando put easy difficulty. Well, he started on hard difficulty by letting Max get ahead of him down into turn 1, and then he switched it. He pressed the pause button and turn the AI difficulty down. What you say about the consequence of a rule change over summer break with not allowing asymmetric braking? Yeah, I mean, they said it was a clarification on the regulations for 2026. Normally, there's a clarification because someone's raised a concern over it. Someone was maybe thinking about implementing such a device that was speculated on online, but or it could be the fact of that there was actually a team using one, and it was a loophole, and they've now closed that loophole, which is why there was speculation that it would be Red Bull because of the timing of the regulation being revised and was coincided with Red Bull's performance drop. Sometimes all you need to do is just join the dots, and often than not, that is true to be the case. But I don't know. I do think something's changed on that Red Bull to make it slower, and with the combination of McLaren improving their car as well. I think it's a bit of both. I don't think it's solely McLaren have just caught up to Red Bull's performance and now overtaken them. I think it's a combination of the two, and at certain circuits in particular, especially the likes of circuits like Hungaroring and now Zandvoort, the shorter, more high downforce required circuits, we are seeing McLaren outperform quite comfortably the Red Bull. So yeah, but there's still lots of varying tracks to go to throughout the remainder of this season. We've still got some street circuits. We've of course got the we've got Monza next week, which is just all about top speed and low downforce. So yeah, we'll see if McLaren and Red Bull are up there, or if there's a Mercedes will dominate there, or maybe even Ferrari. It's really intriguing F1 at the moment, and I'm loving it. So as a gap to Verstappen, 14.6 seconds Lando has over Max Verstappen right now. This is most definitely a Verstappen-esque performance by Lando today. Barring, of course, the start, it has been a perfect race for Lando Norris, and really, really well controlled after he got past Max Verstappen. Or even, to be fair, once he lost the position to Max, he just waited for that advantage to kick in with the Red Bull losing its tyres. I mean, this is the thing, right, as well. Something that I've particularly noticed is that the Red Bull is not as good on its tyres anymore compared to the McLaren and compared to other teams. It really does drop off in pace, and that used to be a big advantage of theirs, is that they just looked after their tyres so much better than everyone else, and that meant they could go faster for longer. And now that's not the case. You could see really when that crossover period was, when Lando was able to close up on Max, was because Max was struggling with the grip, particularly in the middle sector, when those tyres just started to fall away, and the Landos obviously weren't. So yeah, really intriguing. But Carlos Sainz, wow, he's now on the back of George Russell. Where has that come from? As Oscar Piastri maybe just dropping back a little bit to try and cool off his tyres and gain a bit of performance in them, and away from the dirty air of Charles Leclerc. We'll see if he'll be back on the charge soon with 18 laps remaining in this race. But George Russell's in for a second pit stop. Wow. Interesting. That is interesting that George Russell is in the pits for a second pit stop, because they've just arguably thrown away 2 positions there to Sainz and Perez. So do they think Sainz and Perez are going to pit again? Do they think they could have an advantage? Do they think George Russell can catch? Oh my God, the 2 Mercedes teammates are going to be fighting here. Hamilton and Russell. Come on. I want to see this. Maybe not. Maybe George with 3 lap extra younger softs, he'll probably be able to hold off Hamilton. But who would have thought after qualifying yesterday that Hamilton and Russell are now separated by 1 position? 7th George Russell, Hamilton in P8. Wow. Hang on. That's another slow pit stop. 2.8 seconds. A bit quicker. But that is interesting. So I think they're they obviously couldn't see George Russell getting to the end. Albon now making 42 laps on the hards. Wow. But Sainz doing a great job at the moment, by the way. Up 5 positions into P5. Charles Leclerc in P3. So, okay. Oscar Piastri, look, as we said, so a couple of laps, he's just dropped back to cool off those tyres, I think. Get them into a window of being a bit more comfortable. And will we see Piastri try and close the gap on Charles Leclerc again? Or was that because of an issue of a mistake Charles Leclerc made? Sainz is doing well. He's doing very well. The Mercs should easily catch the rest of the field now, one would think. Well, I mean, you look at it, though. Hamilton's doing 1:14.4s. George Russell, I mean, he's got 16 seconds to Perez. I mean, that's a second a lap he needs to catch Perez on a set of softs. Will he do that? I don't think so. It depends if, well, it really depends if the hards fall off a cliff. But I'm not entirely sure they're going to. Max Verstappen, look, P2 pretty much secured for him at the moment. He's 6-7 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. See Piastri, of course, that's really where the fight is for those two. Piastri, that last podium position, can Piastri catch Charles Leclerc and overtake him? He struggled thus far with that tyre advantage, but I think has definitely disappeared with him obviously chasing down George and dispatching the Mercedes driver, but Charles has been able to hold him off. As Piastri is being asked, how is the tyre? Not amazing, I'll make it to the end. So, we'll see. Let's have a look. George Russell, last time around, a 13.9 for George. That was his first full-time lap on the set of softs, but he's just come out on used. Sergio Perez being held up by this fighting backfield battle. I'm going to say it's a backfield because Sargent is in 15th, Tsunoda 16th, Magnussen 17th, and Albon in 18th. But the cars are quite evenly spread across the circuit, aren't they? As we can see there. So let's have a rundown, actually, of the grid as it currently stands. So Lando Norris is in P1, 15.6 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. We can see Charles Leclerc is in P3. He is 1 second ahead of Leclerc, trying to get past the lap car that is Esteban Ocon. We'll see if Ocon gets out of the way comfortably for Piastri. He does. That's allowed Piastri to close up a little bit there on the Ferrari driver. Sainz 6.7 seconds back in P5. He's going very nicely. 14.6 lap time for Sainz last time around. Going very well in this second stint. Could he catch Piastri and Leclerc? We'll see. If they start fighting, he could very quickly. George Perez is 5.7 seconds back. George Russell in P7, who made a second pit stop. He is 13.2 seconds back of Sergio Perez. Hamilton in P8. They're obviously hoping probably for a safety car to see if they can close up to the pack and have obviously those soft tyres on. Gasly, Hulkenberg, great drive from him. He's 43 laps on the hards, Nico Hulkenberg. But he's getting caught by Pierre Gasly and potentially Fernando Alonso. 43 laps on the hards. Wow. That'd be amazing if he could get that into the points. Fernando Alonso in P11, Stroll P12, Ricciardo P13, Ocon 14th, Sargent 15th. Albon gets past Tsunoda down into turn 1. As he's behind his teammate in 16th position. Tsunoda in 17th, 6 places down. It's been a poor weekend. It's been a poor race for Tsunoda, but I feel like he's been shafted by the strategy against Tsunoda. I feel like they should have let him go longer on the softs, or they should have started him on the mediums. It just hasn't worked, this strategy for Tsunoda. So I don't think that's really down to him as a driver. We can see Magnussen is up 2 positions into 18th, Bottas 19th, and Zhou Guanyu has actually been lapped twice because of an extra pit stop he's made onto a soft compound tyre, and he's 31 seconds behind his teammate at the back of the grid. Wow, that is really poor, really poor. Gap is astonishing. I mean, Lando put 3 attempts in quality. I expect it to be bad, but not this bad. Yeah, it is Verstappen-esque performance, guys. It really is Verstappen-esque. But if you've been enjoying the stream, guys, please hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Or let's see if we can get this. Can we get to 29? Surely there's a 500 or 400 of you in here who haven't hit the subscribe button. Surely we can get to 29.5. Surely we can. And we've only got 653 likes. Surely we can get to over 1,000 likes, guys, as well. Go on, you can do it. I know you guys can. Josh Verstappen intensifies. Will Lando do another pit stop? No. It's 13 laps left. 13 laps left, so. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you for anyone who has subscribed, though. Really appreciate it. And everyone who's returning as well. It's not always about new subscribers. It's about a continued community, seeing regular faces and names, and knowing that you guys are continuing to come back and enjoy the streams. So, yeah. And the other content that I do also with the sim racing, and I'm wanting to do some more, obviously, F1 opinion-related content also. I will be on the Missed Apex podcast tonight, guys. Also, you can find a link to their YouTube channel in the description below, or listen to them on Spotify or Apple iTunes or your other podcasting platforms as well. So I'll be doing the race review for that this evening. My pleasure, Trey. My pleasure. Thanks, Ibs. Yeah, thank you, guys. Can Leclerc get P2? No. Don't think so. 6.4 seconds, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, as it currently stands. But the battle that is really kind of intriguing. I mean, Sainz is closing the gap. But is it going to be enough? I mean, he really needs Piastri and Leclerc to fight. But Piastri, does he have enough in those tyres? I think he's kind of lost the performance advantage that he had in those tyres. So he needs to kind of just keep badgering Charles Leclerc, and maybe he'll have a slight little lock-up somewhere and close up. But not really too many fights out on circuit at the moment, other than Sargent, Tsunoda, and Magnussen at the back, as Albon got past his teammate and he's towing along in Perez's slipstream. But yeah, the battle really at the moment out on circuit to keep an eye out on is really the last one for the podium between Leclerc and Piastri, and maybe Hülkenberg and Alonso, because Hülkenberg is 46 laps on this set of hard compound tyres. If he's able to take this set of compound tyres to the end, he would have done 57 laps. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is another Lewis disaster. Bro needs to sort out his qualities, really. Yeah, he does need to sort out quality. Yeah, because he's ruined his whole weekend because of this. Yeah. So Lando Norris, 16.7 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen now. He's lapping consistently 3/10 faster than Max Verstappen. Leclerc and Piastri lapping the same pace. Max obviously just in a comfortable range of just looking after these tyres and making sure they get to the end. Which is why he's a little bit off the pace. There's no need for him to push. He's not going to get P1. So, yeah, just manage the gap and make it to the end with these tyres, ensuring they do make it to the end. Charles Leclerc, though, 5.7 seconds back on Max Verstappen. 14.5 last time around for Charles Leclerc. 3/10 he's just pulled out on Piastri there. Wow, what a lap from Charles Leclerc. Where did that come from? Found some grip somewhere. Carlos Sainz 6 seconds back from Piastri, so he was closing that gap on those two, but they've just really stepped their foot on the gas and been able to get past us. Lewis Hamilton, 13.8, fastest lap for the race for Lewis Hamilton. Purple there. That'll be an extra point for him if he's able to hold on to that. Of course, really the only other driver who could take that away from him is his teammate, who's also on a set of soft compound tyres. But those two, I mean, are we going to get a late safety car? 10 laps remaining. Don't see where that's going to come from. I think a late safety car would only come from a mechanical issue, most likely. As Alonso having a move here on Nico Hülkenberg. He's on 48 lap old hard tyres. Alonso is on 31 lap old hard tyres. And Alonso easily gets past the Haas and takes that last points position away from Nico Hülkenberg. That's such a shame. That's such a shame for Nico Hülkenberg because he really has driven the arse off of that Haas today. Hey, it rhymes. 48 laps he's done on that set of hard compound tyres. I wonder if they'll pit him now, just in case there is potentially a late safety car. We'll see. The battle is still possible for Lando or no? No, I don't think so. Because he needs Verstappen to be outside the top two. He needs Verstappen to be finishing 5th, 6th, something like that. But we potentially could have had a title battle if Lando didn't, I am going to say it, bottle it a few times after starting in first place. So Hamilton closing on Russell. Only due to the lap traffic. If he's able to clear this traffic a bit more comfortably, maybe he will. But we will see. 1.9 seconds between them two now. Eight laps remaining, guys, as Lando's 17.8 seconds ahead of his teammate now. Piastri slightly quicker last time out than Charles Leclerc, but loses a bit of time always in that middle sector and through turn 13 in particular as they head down the start-finish straight. Putting Russell was a bad idea. He could have held Perez to the end. I think he was losing a lot of time on those hard compound tyres. Carlos Sainz had caught up with him out of nowhere, and it seemed that, look, you're just going to lose positions. So, yeah, they've obviously decided to pit him and just maybe, you never know, a late safety car. he'd regain that position if everyone pitted, or yeah, or if drivers stay out there, he'd be on a set of soft compound tyres. RB is like 100 points ahead of McLaren, and Max is still P2. McLaren might get constructors, but I don't know about drivers. Yeah, I think the constructors they'll get. I think the drivers is out of the question. Lando literally needs to be like winning every race, because even when the Red Bull's not up to performance, up to scratch, Max is still going to be, you'd think, finishing on the podium positions. So anything without that, yeah, anything less than that, he's not going to have an opportunity. But yeah, he's like 3 race wins ahead, something like that. So it's a lot to ask with 9 races remaining after this. Like I said a long time ago, Red Bull is even 4th fastest car sometimes. Yeah, definitely, yeah. And the driver has made the difference, 100%, yeah. If Lando has only lost 1 position in the previous races or not, he would have done the same. McLaren's really, really fast and clean air, yeah. So, yeah, Lando absolutely comfortable at the moment up front. Charles Leclerc and Piastri still 1.2 seconds. This is a great drive from both Ferraris, by the way. Charles Leclerc up 3 positions. Sainz up 5 positions. I really thought they'd fall away today, and they haven't. The fact that Charles Leclerc has been able to hold off Piastri, as it currently stands, is a testament to Charles Leclerc. That is for sure. And it maybe bodes a bit well for the Ferrari next week. Although I say that, they're still 24 seconds behind Lando Norris. I mean, this is an unbelievable drive from Lando when you think about it. But Hamilton catching his teammates, George Russell. He just made up 4 temps there, or 3.5 temps in the first sector alone. Hamilton with a fastest first sector, George Russell with a 25.1. Are we going to see the 2 Mercedes drivers go wheel to wheel at the end of this race with 6 laps remaining? Come on, guys. Give us some late drama, please. Hamilton and Russell, that gap just went out to 1.4 seconds, though, as Lewis Hamilton just loses a bit of time, I think, in the braking into that chicane. But he did gain a lot of time in that first sector, because I think George may have... or Lewis either turned up the power, or George had a slight mistake and was maybe a bit wide of an apex. See the first sector times again if that gap does come down and Lewis has the advantage in that first sector. It really does seem that Lewis does have that advantage in that first sector. Wow, he's gaining 2 temps on George Russell in that first sector. We'll see it this time around as Lewis goes purple again in the first sector. So that's really where he's gaining a lot of time on his teammate, even though you would say he's in a dirty air. Russell about to be 1.5 kg underweight. He's probably 1.5 kg overweight at the moment. Hamilton's doing great. Ferrari's a better option for him at this point, even if Mercedes offer him a bigger contract. Well, they didn't offer him a bigger contract, and that's why. And they're not going to. Kimi Antonelli's going to be announced next week, guys, in Monza. You heard, well, you didn't hear it here first, because it's like the most open secret, worst held secret in F1. So, wasn't watching the race much. Why is Norris so far ahead? Because the McLaren is like the Red Bull today. A very, very dominant performance from Lando. Russell going backwards. A little bit, although he loses the time. Lewis loses the time in the middle sector because he's got the dirty air. So he gains a lot of time in this middle sector. It seems to really like this first sector, Lewis, and gains time on George, although this time around not so much. But let's keep an eye at Piastri and Leclerc. That gap's still at 1.1 seconds. Piastri just not able to close in as we have 4 laps remaining. Well, 5 laps remaining, technically. 4 after this lap. As Lando Norris, 19.5 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. He nearly has a free pit stop to Max Verstappen, guys. That is how far ahead Lando Norris is right this moment. Charles Leclerc, 24 seconds back of Lando Norris, 4.6 seconds back of Max Verstappen, as they have been catching Max in the closing stages of this race. However, Max probably has enough tyres in the bank in regards to if they caught him, which I don't think they're going to do with 4 laps remaining. It's one thing to catch, another thing to overtake, as Oscar Piastri is finding out at the moment, says Carlos Sainz, 5.8 seconds back from Piastri in P5. Sergio Perez is currently 38 seconds back from Lando Norris. He's 18 seconds, or no, nearly 20 seconds behind his team. No, he's 19 seconds back from his teammate, so he's nearly at that 20 seconds mark back, or interval time back from his teammate, which I said he would finish behind yesterday. Russell in P7, Hamilton P8. That gap now, I think Hamilton just went on the charge maybe for a few laps to try and close the gap to his teammate, but has lost that time now. He's 1.6 seconds back in P8, but still, good recovery from him, but a race of what could have been if he got his qualifying sorted and started where he's about to finish. Gasly in P9, Alonso in P10. Nico Hülkenberg, 54 laps he's done on this set of hard compound tyres. 54 laps. Unbelievable. It's going to be 57 by the time he finishes this race. That is obscene. That is obscene. What happened on the McLaren? Missed so much. No, McLaren's just done really well. Done really well. Perez putting his foot down on 14.5 last time around there. You can see from Sergio. As he probably had DRS. Did he have DRS assistance? As Ocon and Albon are toying around with positions there, and Logan Sargent. Are they side by side as they went through turn 3? I think Logan Sargent's in there somewhere, guys, as Ocon and Sargent are side by side still as they head through turn 4. No, Sargent's up there. I was like, Ocon's going very slowly. Lost a lot of time to Albon. I was getting excited there might be a late safety car, but it's probably too late if there's a safety car. Sargent, yeah, all the way back. Sorry, me getting excited for no reason. Oscar Piastri fallen back now, 1.4 seconds back from Charles Leclerc. But I will say, guys, this race has been exciting. There's been a lot more overtakes than I thought there would be. I think it's really, really dominant from Lando. He stayed calm, cool, collected. Still 9 races to go. Driver. I'm just running a driver of the day poll, guys. I'm going to go that. I'm going to go that. And I'm going to go that. There we go. Driver of the day, guys, as we have 2 laps remaining. I think it's kind of evident to see who will pick who your drivers of the day are. Of course, Lando Norris is currently in P1. He lost P1 down into the first corner, but was patient and has regained it out on circuit as well by overtaking Max Verstappen at his home race. And he's now got a 20.6 second lead over Max Verstappen. Unbelievable drive by Lando. Charles Leclerc up 3 positions in a Ferrari that I thought would just fall away today, where they've shown a lack of performance. There is still a lack of performance, of course, compared to how far behind they're finishing behind Lando, but he's been able to hold off a charging Oscar Piastri in that McLaren that Lando is driving, and is looking to secure a podium place. Carlos Sainz up 5 positions today. A good recovery from him. He's done very well in this second stint. And Lewis Hamilton, who's up 6 positions in 8th place. So there we go. Lando not driver of the day with that car. He let Max pass him at the start. Driver of the day signs plus 5 places and a great drive. Yeah. Lando is going for yeah, great drive from Perez. Said much better this time. It is a better drive from Sergio Perez, but he's still 19 seconds off of his teammate. But yeah, final lap, guys. Final lap. Lando Norris is coming round the last corner. He lost the position at the start, but he held his composure, and he is about to win the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. Lando Norris is your 2024 Dutch Grand Prix winner and sets the fastest lap on the last race as well, on the last lap, to get a last points position. Ignore the standings at the moment. It is changing up and down because of drivers crossing the finish line, because they were lapped. But Max Verstappen crosses the finish line now, and he is in P2, 22.8 seconds behind Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc rounds off your podium position finishes in P3. Oscar Piastri P4, Carlos Sainz in P5. Sergio Perez is about to cross the finish line into P6, down one position from him. And then George Russell finishing in P7. Lewis Hamilton recovering 6 places into P8. But Lando Norris, guys, has done exactly what he would have wanted. He has come back revitalised after the summer break. He has put it on pole position, yes. He still continues that run, unfortunately, of not leading at the end of the first lap while being on pole position. But he stayed composed. He knew he had the advantage in pace, and he got past Max Verstappen cleanly out on circuit and then just drove off into the distance. What a drive. Snatching that extra bonus point at the end there with the fastest lap of the race on 44 old lap hard tyres as well. That just shows how much of a pace advantage and how strong the McLaren was here this weekend, particularly in Lando Norris's hands, because he's just finished 27 seconds ahead of his teammate also. But what a drive from Lando. Rounding off the grid in P9 is Pierre Gasly. A good finish from him in the points positions, especially in that Alpine. Alonso in P10, down 3 positions today, the Aston Martin. Nico Hülkenberg. Give a round of applause for Nico Hülkenberg, guys. He definitely would have been one of my drivers of the day if he was able to sneak that last points position. 57 laps. 57 laps, Nico Hülkenberg on a set of hard compound tyres there. That is unheard of. Daniel Ricciardo in P12, Stroll in P13, Albon up 5 positions after his DQ in quali to finish 14th, Ocon in 15th, Sargent 16th, Tsunoda screwed over by strategy in P17, at Magnussen in 18th starting from the pit lane, Valtteri Bottas in P19, and Zhou Guanyu also finishing 2 laps down in 20th place. And that is your Dutch Grand Prix, guys. Lando Norris is your winner. Max Verstappen P2. Lando Norris slightly closes that gap on Max Verstappen at the top of the standings. McLaren closed that Constructors' title gap as well, with Piastri finishing in 4th, Perez in 6th. And yeah, wow, interesting race, guys. Interesting race. The McLaren clearly dominant in these short, high downforce circuit racetracks. Of course, next week we go to the completely other end of the scale where we have the most low downforce required circuit on the Canada, Monza. So let's see if the order will change there. But this is the only driver of the day Lando deserves. Well, yeah, at the moment, 924 votes. Lando Norris overwhelmingly 58% driver of the day. Charles Leclerc 14%, Sainz 9%, and Hamilton 20%. And look, I'm a Hamilton fan, of course, but I do have to give this to Lando. While Hamilton has made on-track overtakes out on circuit, look, he's out of position. He's in a car that's much faster than the opposition, and he should make those overtakes. It's like when Sergio Perez starts 15th, 16th, and he also ends up finishing in P8, P7. Like, he's in a dominant car, but easily should make those overtakes. And that's not to take anything away from both of those drivers. They still have to get that done out on circuit. But when you're in a car like that is starting way out of position, I don't think you really should get driver of the day. So go get a hot tea and put the cough behind you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the $5, Scott. Much appreciated. And thank you for everyone tuning in. I know, obviously, we had a bit of issues with some unsavory comments at the start of this stream, so I do apologize for that. Some kinks to be ironed out for me in regards to the chat on screen. Seems to be a little bit delayed, or I have to look into that. But once again, thank you for joining me after the summer break. It's been a while, and it's great to see some regular faces. And for those who are continuing to subscribe, we are fast approaching 30,000 subscribers, guys. Much appreciated to everyone who tuned in today. And yeah, of course, we will be back next week for Monza. I'm sticking around right now as well, of course, for some questions. Of course, I'm going to put up a Q&A. I want your questions, guys. Of course, I'll answer some here now, but there's some things that we become aware of after the race. But let me know just get this. I am on the Missed Apex podcast tonight as well, guys, so be sure to tune into that if you want to listen live, or you can listen back tomorrow or in the week on Spotify. Where? Come on, copy, please. There is a community post, guys, but I'm just about to put up. If you can leave your questions in there, it'd be much appreciated. Why? Post something. There we go. The Dutch GP. Post, please. Post. There we go. Done. Done. I'll change the flag afterwards. Thank you for a great session. Take care. Thank you, guys. Yeah, no, much appreciated. Should we do if McLaren keep bringing the car and Lando doesn't keep having bad starts? Yeah. You like the Dutch? Like I said, the Dutch are much more sportive. You voted Hamilton. Yeah, that's fair. Look, everyone has different criteria for their driver of the day. I'm going to win the poll, but I do think driver of the day is Lando. I think you have to look at it. While he did balls up the start again, and he did balls it up, I think you have to look into the fact of it. He didn't panic. He didn't come over the radio. Didn't kick himself down. He managed the first stint very well, and he waited for that crossover period of where the tyres were going to fall off of Max. He started to lose a bit of grip in that middle sector, took the opportunity to overtake Max out on circuit, and then he just drove off into the distance in what was a Max Verstappen-esque performance, something that we've been so familiar with seeing Max do in the last 3 years, and even at the start of the season. So very, very well controlled, considering the pressure that was on him, of course, before the summer break. People calling him a bottler, no doubt. Maybe that thought going through his mind after obviously ballsing up that race start. For him to be patient and control the race in the way that he did is a very mature drive, and I think deserves driver of the day. Sadly disagree, Scott. That's fine, you can disagree. I think Charles Leclerc also warrants it. I don't think I think Sainz did very well also. I think Leclerc and Sainz are kind of like level pegging. Well, actually, no, I'm going to say Charles Leclerc deserves it more than Sainz, actually. So, doesn't deserve driver of the day because he lost a start with that car. Yeah, but he recovered. Doesn't matter. So, Leclerc and Max prove that McLaren car is much better than the rest. If you're making those sort of comments, then you're a bit of a hypocrite, aren't you? Because what about Red Bull? What about Red Bull for the last 3 years? You know? So, anywho. Power demonstration today, well executed. Yeah, I mean, it's intriguing. So, like I said, that we saw McLaren be this dominance at Hungary as well. And go away. We've seen McLaren dominate Hungary, which is a very similar circuit, very similar setup required. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing. We've got varying tracks coming up. Of course, Monza, very low downforce. We also have who else do we have? What are the upcoming races? Let me jog my memory. I know we've got Baku soon as well, haven't we? We've got Baku coming up. Where do we go after Monza? So we go to Monza. Yeah. Then we have another week's break. We go kind of like the Asian swing again, like a 2-race Asian swing in Azerbaijan and Singapore. Then we go to COTA, Circuit Americas, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas. So, okay. Yes, upcoming races, Monza, Azerbaijan, Singapore. So street circuits in Azerbaijan and Singapore. We'll see, of course, how if McLaren dominate there again. I mean, because we saw the Red Bull struggling on bumpy circuits, didn't we, earlier on in the season. Italy, Monza's going to be really intriguing. Will there be an outlier there where we see Ferrari go very well? Do we see Mercedes? Will Red Bull be super quick with the low downforce package? Very, very different types of circuits coming up on the race calendar. So I think that's the last kind of short, high downforce circuit we've got on the calendar. So be interesting to see if this dominance of McLaren kind of continues. Say continues. It's only just begun, shall we say? But if we see a similar dominant performance from McLaren with the types of circuits we've got coming up in the remainder of the season. But yes, guys, leave me your questions in the community post that I've got. I'm going to do a video. If you want your question answered, there we go, guys. If you want your question answered, I know the Dutch GP flag isn't there, the Belgian flag. I will change that. Drop me a question in there, and I'll be doing a separate video following this where I'll be answering all your questions. So, I think Joe was driver of the day. What, for just not crashing and sticking it out? So, any websites I would no, not telling you that. Perez coming second at the start of the season shows how dominant Red Bull were until Miami. McLaren caught them from Miami, and this update has put them in front. Yeah. I mean, look, Max Verstappen wasn't lying yesterday when he said it's all about holding on to P2. I did say at the start of the race, or before the race, I wonder if the best thing for the race today is Max to get in the lead. Otherwise, I think Lando could just drive off into the distance. That's what happened, of course. So, yeah. But he can win in every car, even banning defense on Piastri, Leclerc. Yeah, no, Leclerc drove very well. Yeah, I think what we saw was that the offset that McLaren had on Leclerc and Russell wasn't enough to sustain an attack on Leclerc. It was enough to get past Russell, but it wasn't enough to get past Leclerc. So, yeah, they needed probably double the amount of offset that they had, but then they would have lost too much time by Piastri staying out as long as he did, or would have needed to have done. So yeah, that's kind of like the nature of top teams, where the performance kind of, you need it. That Norris even struggled to get past Verstappen, didn't he, at the start? While in clean air he drove away, he wasn't really able to properly get past Verstappen and attack him back straight away at the start of the race, because of just the dirty air and that being still prevalent. Not as prevalent here as I thought it was going to be, as it was at Spa, but it was nice to see lots of overtakes out there. I thought we were going to struggle to see some overtakes, so I like all these races. They all did amazing. Oh yeah, well look, they're driving F1 cars at the end of the day. I mean, the fact Logan Sargent didn't crash, well done, Logan. Could we have just seen Logan Sargent's last race in F1? Williams supposedly very not happy with Logan Sargent. Of course, been in the car yesterday with all those brand new parts. Costed him so much money. See. Bottas was super good. Well done. I keep thinking back to a swap a few weeks ago between Norris and Piastri at Hungary. I hope that doesn't hurt Norris at the end of the season. Given, yeah, I mean, look, I still expect the Red Bull to be strong. I think it's this particular setup and this type of circuit, but Red Bull don't have the performance advantage that they used to have over the other teams. So I think I think that we'll see Red Bull be strong again at Monza, but we'll see the rest of the we'll see throughout the rest of the year. As I said, we've got some street circuits coming up as well in Azerbaijan and Baku and Singapore. So you didn't get Mercedes' strategy with Russell. I think their idea behind it, Marianne, I mean, it will be confirmed in interviews post-race, but I think the idea behind it was that I think George had killed his tyres. So this is something that George Russell definitely needs to improve on, is that he is a bit of a tyre muncher. He does kill his tyres quite a bit, and I think his tyres had fallen off a cliff, because I was reading chat, and then I looked back at the screen, at the track map, and Carlos Sainz had gone from being 5 seconds behind George Russell to being on his rear wing, like in a few, like half a lap or something. I'm probably exaggerating that gap, but he all of a sudden was on his rear wing when he was at least quite a fair distance behind. So I think George had killed his tyres, knew he was going to get caught by Sainz and probably by Perez, who was further behind. And they thought, let's pit him. He's already going to lose those 2 positions. Never know, might get a safety car, and he's then on a set of softs while everyone maybe decides to pit, or he's got a grip, or drivers decide to stay out there. So, am I excited with Nina Gaiman doing very well in F1 Academy? I did see that she was racing in it. I didn't see the results. How does she get on? I know she's part of the Veloce family as well. 22 seconds, yeah, big gap. That is a full pit stop. 21.5 seconds was the pit stop lost time here today, guys. Lando Norris has just finished a free pit stop ahead of Max Verstappen today. Unbelievable. He lapped over half of the field. Red Bull still got upgrades coming. Yeah, exactly. I don't think the development has ended. I don't think the development game has ended by any means. I mean, look, the gap there is kind of a little bit unfair in regards to Verstappen on Leclerc. Even the gap between Verstappen and Norris is a bit unfair because one, I did just say that's over a pit stop difference. The difference there also is that Max knew once Lando got past him, that's it. He's got no opportunity to catch Lando again unless there's a safety car. Because in clean air, that he can't get... He's not got enough pace to stay with that Red Bull. So it's very much, okay, your attitude and your mindset changes when you're Max Verstappen, that I can't get this win now. That the win is outside of my control. I need a safety car. I need a red flag or something. So he has to just manage his race, manage his tyres, and that's what he did to the end. He was kind of in no man's land in the grand scheme of things. He knew he had Charles Leclerc completely covered. He could allow that gap to close between himself and Leclerc, and he could allow Lando to just do his own thing. He can't control what Lando does. So it is a little bit false, that gap between Norris and Verstappen, but you cannot deny that, yeah, the McLaren was the quickest car here this weekend. And, yeah, Norris executed what he needed to do other than the race start. No flex during the race. Is everyone becoming more cautious, or is there another reason? I think maybe everyone becoming a bit more cautious. Maybe. I don't think they're becoming cautious. I think the big thing is reliability. We see very few mechanical issues now, or mechanical retirements, which bring out safety cars. The only time we kind of see safety cars now is if there is contact between other drivers. So yeah, it's just one of those days today where we didn't get any yellow flags at all. We've had a few races like that this year. We've had no yellow flags. So, you mean Russell the tyre whisperer? Russell cannot manage tyres in the dirty air, gets too eager. Sometimes patience and time is important. Lando demonstrated that today. Yeah. Russell isn't a tyre whisperer. No. Like, yeah, what he did at Spa, but look, we know that there's reasons why he was able to do what he did at Spa. And he was the only driver to do that, whereas other drivers would have been able to do that also, probably much better, and still had the weight at the end by managing their tyres better than even Russell did at Spa. Can Lando win all the races and with the World Championship without Max doing DNF in races? I don't know. Don't think so. No. Well, he can. I think he can if Max finishes outside of the top, outside of the top 10. If he finishes down in like 8th, 9th, or 10th, so he can do, yes, still, but not if Max finishes on the podium step every single time. I believe if Max finishes on the podium step every single time, or even in the top 5 every single time between now and the end of the season, I think he would. Even if Lando wins every race and gets the bonus point for fastest lap, I think he would still mathematically not win. So. Can Russell struggles to go forward in the race? That seat won't be safe for 2026 at this rate. Well, the rumours are, I mean, if Toto Wolff came out and said they spoke to Max Verstappen about a seat for next year, and I mean, I think it'd be a bit silly to go to, in this current regulation set, to go to Mercedes still. But for 2026, yeah, it's definitely a viable... I still predicted when the merry-go-round was going about with driver swaps and that, I still think, yeah, 2026 will be Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli. I do. I think George Russell will still be on the grid, but I think he'd be somewhere else. So, for Piastri, disappointed for Piastri as you can't overtake this track. Well, you can overtake. It's just obviously a little bit more difficult to overtake. I think we saw lots of overtakes there, but what we saw was the more dominant teams, the likes of obviously the top 4 teams, Mercedes, McLaren, Perez, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull. Like Sainz and Hamilton dispatched the slower cars a lot more easier today than they did at previous races. Because of the DRS and because of that advantage they've got. But then when they got to the top 4 teams, you did need that tyre offset still. You still need that advantage. But like we saw with Piastri, he only had enough of an advantage in his tyres to overtake George Russell, one car. Then he got to Charles and he losing that performance on the tyres with 9 laps younger tyres. So he needed more than that. He needed probably another 5-6 laps pressure tyres, but then he would have lost too much time. So overtaking was a lot more prevalent here, which I think was good to see, of course. Normally, maybe we don't see so much, but yeah, today I did enjoy that race. I did. Norris winning isn't the issue. It's Max eating up the points also. Yeah, exactly. An upgrade can downgrade if you're not done with it. Exactly. An upgrade is only an upgrade if it increases performance, Joel. So it's an update. An update can be... So you can have an update that doesn't have a desired effect. An upgrade is only an upgrade if it literally increases the performance. I'm getting very technical with the grammar of it all now. Was this the most dominant race by Lando? Yes, definitely. Yeah, because unlike Miami, he didn't have a safety car here to help him get to the lead. He did it of his own merit. The car was the quickest, and in Lando's hands, great drive, great performance from him. I mean, the fact he stole fastest lap there at the end on a set of hard compound tyres as well, when you got Lewis and George, who set the fastest... Lewis set the fastest lap on a set of softs, is a really, really big testament to how good that McLaren is this weekend. I think Zhou Guanyu will be the world champion. In your F1 24 career mode, maybe. When was the last yellow flag this season? I'm not sure, Carl. We didn't get one at Spa, did we? I need to jog my memory of which races we've had previously. There's so many now. Bearing in mind, we also have sprint races coming up as well. We have a sprint race in Circuit of the Americas, we have one in Brazil, and we have one in Qatar. So those points are on offer as well, by the way. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, glad you enjoyed the stream. Glad everyone else enjoyed the stream as well. So, did we have a yellow flag in Hungary? I don't think we did we? Yellow flag in Silverstone? Did we have a yellow flag in Silverstone? I can't remember if we did. I don't think we've had a yellow flag since Austria. Since the clash with Lando and Max. I think. Could Red Bull win at least one race of the 9 remaining? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It rained in Silverstone. Was that a yellow flag though? Did we get a yellow flag in that race? I can't remember, guys. I can't remember. But yeah, it's been a while actually since we've had like a proper safety car. Lewis was intentionally penalised to stop his good run. No, I don't think he even would have had an opportunity staying anywhere near that McLaren this weekend. Teams get all the updates available if the setup choice for the race is off. Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you can completely make the wrong setup change. Well, that's apparently what Lewis did. Lewis supposedly had the car in a good place on Friday. What does he do? They changed the car on Friday night, and the car was not in a good place Saturday, apparently. So... What? Yeah, so this is definitely the most dominant race by Lando. Sure. Chocon hasn't won the race, no. So one last time, guys, let's have a look at the rundown. So there was only one post-race penalty, which was for Lance Stroll. We got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that's kind of all we saw today in regards to penalties. Lando Norris is your winner, closing that gap finally to Max Verstappen, even though he lost the first place at the start. Max Verstappen in P2, Charles Leclerc P3, rounding off your podium position there, up 3 places. Good drive by Charles Leclerc. Held off Oscar Piastri, who just struggled today in that traffic. Lost, importantly, at this place to George Russell at the start of the race, and that really got in his way. It could have, I think, quite easily been a 1-2 if Piastri was able to get ahead of George at the start. And then he only had to focus on Max Verstappen ahead or sit behind his teammate. Carlos Sainz, good drive from him in P5, up 5 places. Good recovery from him, considering he also missed out, of course, in Q3, but got promoted to P10 at the start of this race due to Albon's disqualification. Perez down a position in P6. I mean, it's just a typical Perez performance. Yes, it's better than the poor standard we used to see of Perez, finished like of what we've seen of late, but still finished 19 seconds back, 18 seconds back, sorry, roughly, or 17 seconds back from his teammate Verstappen, who was just running his own race at the end. Russell P7, Hamilton P8, good recovery from him. Russell lost 3 positions, by the way. That's not been spoken about, really, kind of mentioned about enough. Gasly 9th, Alonso 10th, Hulkenberg 57 laps on the hards, unbelievable. Ricciardo 12th, Stroll 13th, Albon 14th, Ocon 15th, Sargent 16th, Tsunoda down 6 positions. I do wonder if they're intentionally trying to sabotage Yuki Tsunoda. That's just such a poor strategy they gave him today. Magnussen 18th, Bottas 19th, and Zhou 20th. And there we go, guys. There we go. Stroll didn't find the button. Did he not? Oh, God. Where can Red Bull win another race? I think they can win like the traditional circuits. So probably like Circuit of the Americas. They've always been quite strong at Baku. They've always been strong at Monza as well. Thing is about Monza's not a track where tyre deg is kind of really a thing. You can take tyres there forever, so that will probably benefit them. Where else have we got? Abu Dhabi at the end of the year. I mean, there's definitely opportunities for Red Bull to still win races. Yeah, I think so. But there we go, guys. That is the end of this stream, really, of this Dutch Grand Prix. I mean, yeah, not really too much kind of to digest, I think. I mean, there are some things to digest, really. I need to go away and listen to some post-race interviews. Of course, I'm on the Missed Apex podcast later on tonight. I do want your questions as well, guys, in the community post that I have put up. I'm going to be answering your questions and putting them into a video later on this evening. Simulator can say hi to Trumpets from New Jersey for you. Of course I can, Carl. Of course I can. I'll have what Hassan is. Lando won on pure pace, Rice. Yeah, he did. Yeah, won on pure pace. Yep. Very similar performance. Actually, I just want to remind myself quickly. Just remind myself of where am I going? Of the gap that McLaren beat in Hungary. So the gap, so Hungary was the last circuit of a similar type to this, high downforce, shortish in nature, and well, the McLarens finished 20 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen last time out. They finished 15 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So at circuits like this, short with a high downforce requirement, the McLaren is clearly the fastest car at the moment. Thanks, Jimmy. Much appreciated. Missed Apex tonight. Yeah, missed Apex. Christian will have to spice this one up yet again in the interview area. He was very defensive, wasn't he, yesterday? It was or over the weekend in regards to being asked that his car isn't the fastest or whatever. There's been a drop off in performance. He's been he's been very defensive, understandably, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in today. Yeah, some hiccups I need to sort out in regards to the chat. Seems to be very delayed for my liking. So I will sort that out moving forward. And yeah, we had to get rid of some bad eggs today from the stream. Some people who I have seen have been in here for quite some time, actually, which I don't want to do. But look, I want this to be a place where people can enjoy F1, where we can all enjoy F1. We can all have different opinions. We can all support who we want to support. And we can have a bit of banter and so forth, but there is a line, and I will not accept that line being crossed at the end of the day. And if you cross it with bad language, with unsavory comments, pardon me, you will be banned. So, yeah, that's what we want moving forward. Small minority spoil it for the majority, as always, unfortunately. But look, we try and keep this fan friendly. Exactly, fan friendly. I don't have an issue with swearing and so forth. I don't have an issue with that. But I will not have an issue. I do have an issue with you using that, trying to like spread hate onto a driver and spamming and so forth. You know, so that's where we will draw them. So yeah. But anyway, guys, have a lovely rest of your Sunday. If you're in the UK, enjoy your bank holiday, because we have an extra day off tomorrow, where I may do a surprise day stream. I may do a surprise iRacing day stream. God knows what I'm going to race, because there's hardly anything to race, but I need to make use of an extra day stream. So, yeah, hopefully if you guys are not doing anything tomorrow, if you're at work or whatever, you can tune into that and provide some entertainment for you. But yeah, have a lovely rest of your Sunday, guys, and we will see you later on Missed Apex. Tune into that, guys. I want your questions also in the community post. Bye.